Everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. 7 o'clock Sunday evening, time for Sunday night live chat. As always, we are live on two formats, both Facebook and YouTube, and it looks like Facebook just finally popped up there with us, so hopefully they'll be getting on with us soon. As usual, we are live on both formats. Frank's already here. Rusty Nails is here. Bill's back. Big Job's here. Glad you guys are here. Appreciate you always coming back. And see if hopefully we'll be getting connected on Facebook as well. Looks like we've got a few people just starting to get on over there. So we'll kind of slowly get started here as everybody's getting their notifications to jump on with us tonight for episode 101, number 101. As crazy as that is, Lee from New York's here. Norma's on. Jim's here. So a lot of familiar faces on right out of the gate on YouTube. Bill, are we going for a trip in the sky? I'm not going for a trip in the sky anytime soon, but I kind of feel like I need to get away here sometime. But yep, that's a great, pretty cool old picture that I thought we ought to hang up and check out tonight. So Joe's here. Let's see, no comments popping up yet on Facebook. So we'll see if some of those guys are with us. Number one's here. Got his little notebook. That's great. Chris is here. Scott, good evening. Driving back to Kansas from Vegas. Sounds like he's got some miles ahead of him. Pete's on with us. So, yep, I figured that out, Bill. It just took me a second. So, Mr. PFF Flyer with us tonight. Frank's on Facebook. He's an infrequent watcher, but he made it tonight. We're glad you did. Robert's on with us. Kim's here on YouTube. So, thanks for being back, everybody. Thanks for making this what it is. And it's all you guys jumping on here, ready to go, is what makes this such a great deal. So, as always, check your autocorrects. If you don't check your autocorrect, then I can't understand your comment. I will skip it and keep going. Trolls, you guys do a great job of taking care of them. I ignore them because that's what they want is my attention. So I ignore them. You guys do a great job of taking care of them. And as always, if you were on the Nobody Show page on Facebook, I cannot see those comments. You cannot participate in trivia or the auction or anything. This is a shared video to the Nobody Show page on Facebook from the Nobody Else's Auto page. Those are the only comments I can see. So if you want to comment, participate in the auction, you'll need to be on the Nobody Else's Auto page on Facebook or the Nobody Show channel on YouTube. Either one of those will work. I've got YouTube right here, Facebook right here, so I've got all those comments. So let's get caught up on some comments. So Kevin's here, H-Town in the house. Number one, no, none of those answers are correct at this point. So Mike's on, Jason's here, Chad's here. Bill says Bill's already ready for the Hudson badge, so we'll get it up there right out of the gate. James is back. Billy's here. Buchanan Auto Sales. And he got his T-shirts and his auction pieces, so that's great. James is here. Our good buddy Mike's on with us. Says Wi-Fi is hanging out so far. We all got to give a good shout out to Mike for getting the loader back together and running. So he was the brainchild that got that thing together, got the crank in it, bearings mic'd out good. Plastic aged out, had great oil pressure when he fired it up. So glad Mike's with us tonight and glad he got my loader running. Joe's on Facebook. Mary's here. She already got her badge from last week. Glad that made it to you already. Let's see. Number one says he's doing his homework for trivia. So, but anyway, lots of stuff popping up, trying to keep up with it. Buchanan says it's sweet that the loader's working. Rusty Nell says, good job, Mike. So, yep, it helps out when you got guys that know that stuff really well. So, Mike, have you received the 1962 car magazine I sent you? Well, as a matter of fact, Mike, for some strange reason, the magazine tonight is going to be the 1962 Speed Mechanics you sent me. So, I absolutely got it. Thank you for that. And we're going to share it with everybody tonight. So, I appreciate you thinking of me. Anyway, dispatch, Brian is here. Let's see. I think I'm getting caught up. Got kind of crazy there. I may have missed a couple of you. If I did, I apologize. They were strolling there pretty quickly. So anyway, and we'll touch on this a couple of times. Yes, I did see that, Robert. The 80 Magnum Murata went to a new owner this week that Bill and I have been talking about. So cool car, just no way I could have swung it right now, but I super appreciate Bill letting me know about that thing. Steel Ponies, Jeff Taylor's here from North Carolina. Let's see. Joe, the B29 picture, do I know where it was taken? No, I really don't. I don't know much about this. Now, if you guys were hanging out with us on Toy Tuesday last week, and if you didn't, you want to go back and check that out, where they had an actual piece of bomb bay door off of a B29 that went through battle and had bellied in. This came from the same auction as that chunk. So if you missed Toy Tuesday last week and you dig this stuff, you definitely want to go back and catch that. They had about 4 or 5 of these pictures. We've looked at one of them. I've got a few more we'll work up into the chat. Let me see. Don't get too far behind on comments here. James had fun yesterday. Went to a friend's private yard and picked up an 85 C10. Getting a 67 Chevy tomorrow. That sounds like a good plan. Number 1 says he can't handle the Hudson Badge till he eats. So, well, we'll toss it up there for everybody that's ready for it. So, but and the story behind that stuff was it was an estate sale in 2014, I think, and the guy had passed away. And Randy's here with us on YouTube. And this was all an estate auction. So unfortunately, I didn't get the stories behind each individual piece, but I bought a ton of cool stuff. So I don't know anything about them. Like I said, there's 4 or 5 of them we had. They're all nice, big black and white frame pictures. We had one a few months ago of one in midair. But this one we threw up here, but I don't really know where it was taken at, and I can't really tell. Regardless, super cool picture. So, no, Brian, have not gotten your envelope from Canada on the Buick yet. So, Christian from Germany's on Facebook. Glad you made it tonight. But unfortunately, I don't know anything about the pictures, but they're great pictures. So, I love them. I'm glad they're part of my collection, and super excited about it. I'm glad you guys dig it too, because that's what this stuff is for, is to share with everybody and check it out. So, Tony's on. It's cold in South Dakota. It was in the 70s here today, but it's supposed to be high in the 20s by Wednesday here. So I'm about done with colds. I'm hoping this is our last cold snap, or keep my fingers crossed they got a little wrong and it doesn't get quite that bad. But they're talking single-digit lows and highs in the 20s throughout the middle of this week, and in the mid-70s and sunny today. So that kind of stinks. Not looking forward to that. Jason's going to have dinner with his Hudson Badge. So there you go. But anyway, what's happening? Real quick, I want to touch base with you, and you guys think about this, and we'll see what we want to do. Next week, it does not look like I'm going to be here. Rusty Nails just had 8 more inches of snow. So I'm probably going to be on the road next Sunday night the way things are looking, because I've got some stuff to do on Sunday and probably won't be back here. What I'm thinking about doing is maybe doing an abbreviated show, unless everything completely goes haywire and I can't even do that. But what I'm thinking is maybe we'll try to do like an abbreviated show, like not do it like a magazine and some things like that. Just get on and chat a while. But for like an auction piece, I'll try to find something on the road, and then we'll auction it right after I find it. Don't have any idea what it might be, but something automotive related. Might be an ornament, might be a badge, might be an emblem, might be a can. Who knows? But I'll try to find something while I'm on the road, and then we'll auction it and have just kind of a little chat session, little bull session on next Sunday night, and do an abbreviated episode. Or like I said, just, we could just skip it too altogether. We'll just kind of whatever you guys think. But the best I'm going to be able to do next weekend is an abbreviated version, which will also back the raffle up until the following Sunday, because I won't have the stuff here with me to do it. I don't want to drag all that stuff with me. So anyway, Jeff Taylor, once the weather breaks, the loader's going to be working hard. Yep. I got a lot of stuff to do. So Jason says multitasking. He's eating and dealing with the Hudson Badge at the same time. James says hit the likes. Big Job says have my daughter stand in. Yeah. Brian, is there a story behind the business name Nobody Else's Auto? Yes, there is. Christian's got a bad connection in Germany. You might try YouTube, the Nobody Show channel on YouTube, Christian. Sometimes that works a little better. We've got a lot of people on here. So, but anyway, the old school made it tonight. The Nobody Else's Auto name, real quick, before we get into some of this other stuff. The facility that I own was up until 2011 a late model production yard. There wasn't hardly anything in there over 20 years old. I bought most of the stuff that was over 20 years old, and that was 4 or 5 cars. So that's Gail from Des Moines here. Kevin, how's Dad doing? Doing good. It's, just can't do much. After an ankle replacement, you just can't get up and walk around and go do much. So, but he's feeling okay. It's just a matter of just kind of being stuck. But the yard that I bought was called Nobody's Auto Recycling. When I bought it, Trailer Crash Projects is here. Tony's here. Jason, Alfred. Yeah, it's the same thing asking about Dad. Yeah, he's doing pretty well. So just takes a long time for that new ankle to, attach and grow in and heal and do what it's supposed to do. But it was called Nobody's Auto Recycling when I bought it. When I bought it, we actually both worked out of there for a couple of years. As he sold down and crushed out his inventory, I started moving in because I only had about 100 cars to move in. Not much. I had some stuff on some ground out west of town. I had a few at Dad's. And so I just slowly started moving those in as he started winding down. So when I got my dealer's license, I had to change it slightly because he was still functioning under Nobody's Auto Recycling. So that's how I became Nobody Else. Now, how did he become Nobody's? And there was another Nobody's number one. When he bought the business back in the mid-'70s, he made a deal on it. He went and talked to the bank and said, I'm going to try to buy the salvage yard and everything. And the banker said, yeah, that's fine. No problem. If you get it bought, let me know and we'll get everything drawn up. So he goes to the guy that owned it, made a deal on it, gave him a deposit. And the guy said, all right, if you're going to buy this, I want this done quick. I don't want to drag this out forever. Rusty Nails has always been nobody. So he said, okay. He goes, I've already talked to the bank. No problem. Here's your deposit. We'll get going. I'll get it done quick and we'll make it smooth and easy. He goes back to the bank and the banker starts pulling out SBA paperwork. So he, Bill missed number 100 last week. I didn't think you were here with us last week, Bill. I was kind of wondering what was up. So he goes back to the banker. The banker pulls out SBA paperwork and he goes, whoa, wait a minute. I've only got like a certain amount of time to get this done. This guy says he wants done and out of there. I got to come get this done quickly. And the banker explained to him, he said, listen, the reason SBA paperwork takes forever is it just gets lost in the shuffle. He saw it, and he's sitting in the banker's office literally, and he says, just what you need to do is pick out a name that's catchy, something they won't forget. He said, that way, if we're getting short on time, I can call them and they'll remember it. So we need something catchy, something that they're going to, catch their eye, or if I've got to call them, oh yeah, I'll remember that. So he sits there for a minute and he picks up the piece of paper off the banker's desk and literally writes nobody on the paper and hands it back to him. And that's how it became about. That's how it became Nobody's Auto Recycling. And then after I bought it, then it became Nobody Else's because I had to change it just slightly. But it'd been Nobody's for so long. That was in the mid-'70s, and I was born in 74. So I never knew it was anything different. Nobody else around here knew it was anything different. So try Trailer Trash Projects where nobody knows our name. That's about right. Number one, everybody's a somebody at Nobody's. BW's made it tonight. Glad you're here. So anyway, what else we got to talk about? What else is going on this week or has gone? Buzz is on with Roadkill. Great story about the name. Yep, that's it. That's literally how it came about. Needed something catchy to make sure the SBA paperwork didn't get caught up, so he literally wrote nobody on the banker's loan paperwork and handed it back to him. Wichita Swap Meet. I talked to John this week. Everything is a go. It's middle of March. I don't remember. I have to look the dates up. 10th and 11th. No, move-in day is the 10th. 11th and 12th. Is the swap meet Friday and Saturday, March 11th and 12th, Friday and Saturday, Century 2, Wichita, Kansas. Everything is a go. It is sold out. So that's have all definite confirmation on that. Ready to go. Looking forward to it. Last year it got canceled. The year before that, they shut it down after the first day. So Wichita swap meet is on. If you guys are thinking about going, definitely be there. Trailer Trash Projects, the story behind you being able to buy 100 cars. I had about 100 cars that I just gathered up here and there. Like I said, some of them were still out at Dad's place. I had a few of them stored on some other ground. That was just kind of a, drawn out thing to build to that. And then obviously it's taken off from there. Pete, who does videoing on the river cars? Shayla was doing it when we shot that stuff. So let's see. Shop Cats here. That's right. March 11th through the 13th is what Robert popped up on Wichita. So that's the weekend for the Wichita Swap Meet. Anybody that's around here, definitely swing by, say hi. Be great to see some of you there. Some other things that are happening. If you're on YouTube, Classic Ride Society, it is inside at the Century 2 Hall, Classic Ride. So if you want to try to make it up for that one, Century 2 in Wichita, Kansas is where that will be held. And it is all inside. So we're okay on weather no matter what it does. If you're on YouTube, some of my videos you may start seeing looking a little bit different. A good friend of mine, Mike Gallons of Gallons Media, he's actually the one that convinced me to start doing this 2.5, 3 years ago. And and I've still stay in touch with him. He's a good dude, very good at digital media. And he said, let's try some things with your channel. Mike's going to try to make Wichita Swap Meet. So he's playing with some thumbnails. He's tying some videos together, some things like that. So let me know what you guys think. If you see some of that stuff, he's going back a couple of years on some of this stuff and working with some of the old content that I bet a lot of you guys have never seen, because some of that stuff only got a couple hundred views because it was so early, when there was only, maybe 500 people on the channel. So he's going to go back and look at a lot of that stuff, maybe retweak the thumbnails, retweak the titles, and some things like that. So you definitely want to check that out. And I want your guys' opinion, because it is kind of it's a test is what it is. Mike's working with some of that stuff, seeing what he can make work, what doesn't work, because that's what he does is digital media. So by playing with my channel, he's learning for him, maybe seeing if we can get some more results out of some of my videos. But I want your guys' feedback. If you see any of that stuff, like it, don't like it, stuff like that. So Rusty Nails, how many people fit in the river limo? Well, we may show you this week. We actually did a video on the river limo. It will fit 4 people, but the back seat is pretty small. But I was actually going to tell you guys, we'll probably try to throw that up this week as well. But my buddy that owns that, we did do a video on it. He's explained all the details on it, so we will try to get that up. So Kenny says, don't lose the Hudson badge. Number one, those are river raw materials, not river cars. Yeah, there's not much left of those. I know where there's a bunch more out that are more intact. We're going to try to get some of those done too. So anyway, Bill says they just saw the American Pickers checking out the truck that I bought from him. That's cool. Must be on TV again. So, but anyway, that's what's happening. So if you're on YouTube, I absolutely am going to be curious to see any of your guys' feedback. If you see any of those videos that Mike's tweaking, playing with, because it is all a test. It's all an experiment and a test that we're working with to see if we do this, does it get results? If we do this, does it not get results? That type of stuff. So it's very interesting to see what we may or may not get out of some of that stuff. Trailer Trash Projects. Anybody know if factory body panels from the 50s have black primer, or if that's strictly aftermarket? Some of that varies. I've seen black, gray, red, depends on the manufacturer, things like that on Newell stock panels from the 50s. So, but I do know a lot of that stuff was black from the factory. So, that's hard to say. Something else interesting that happened this week. Scott on Facebook, my cousins own an aircraft salvage in San Antonio right next to the military base. That would be super cool. I would love to check that out. That would be awesome. I love airplanes. So as all you guys all know, I'm a pretty big fan of airplanes. Trailer Trash Projects. After I removed my 56 Chevy 3100 fender, has black primer underneath. Yeah, like I said, they were black because I've got a Newell stock 5 to 7 big truck fender, and it is black. So there again, almost have to, if it fits really well and it's good heavy metal, it's probably a replacement fender. Big job. You got to see BW's cat paddle Kim painted for drink time with Fill the Bucket. We'll have to check that out. So we'll give him, he can have a drink with that. But something else that was super cool this week, for me at least, anybody got their new issue of Hot Rod yet? Or if you take Hot Rod magazine, if you guys remember back in October, well, I guess we would have listed this in August or September, and we had some stuff on it for a vehicle we sold at the F&E Collector Auto Auction. Well, when I flipped open my new issue of Hot Rod earlier this week, there it was, the 37 Ford half-ton pickup that the original owner's daughter consigned to the F&E Collector Auto Auction. That truck was totally original. It had a replacement engine put in it at one point. But there again, still super cool to see that, we did run the truck through. I think she even ran at no reserve, so obviously it did sell, went to a new home in Colorado. So if you don't get Hot Rod and you're curious about that truck, be sure to pick that one up. It's just super cool to see a project you were involved with pop up in the pages of Hot Rod. They did do the article on my 74 Camaro last fall as well. So be sure to check that out. Kind of neat to see when when some of that stuff actually hits some print and stuff like that too. So was definitely excited about that. I thought we would get into maybe a little bit of some of the old stuff again tonight. And I guess we will. We'll take a few minutes and talk about some more of the old stuff. We've gotten pretty deep in time already. We'll do a few of them. Bill, yeah, you made the new issue of Hot Rod. I have another one for you to autograph. That's fine, Bill. I'll be more than happy to do it, But, back to the old pads. We'll flip through a few pages of that. Jason wants something that for his daily. Yeah, it'd be a pretty cool truck. There's a Hudson Badge. We talked about this a lot last week. We spent a lot of time with it, and we'll kind of keep working through some of it. And part of the reason I want to keep working through some of it, one, this stuff is going back to August of 2020 is where we're at right now. What we talked about, because if you guys hear something that you're interested in, let me know. Throw it up there as we're going through some of it. I'll make some notes on it. We'll try to work some more of it back in if there's some topics that we talked about, when a lot of you guys weren't on here with us yet. So, third place in the raffle should be an autographed Hot Rod magazine by you. Well, that might be a possibility too. Still got to get a few more people in, but I guess that would be a good idea. We could, if you guys want one, we could do it if I can get one at the newsstand. I'm going to write that down just in case. Brian says no more Hudson Bay in Canada. So anyway, Classic Ride Side, it's about 6 hours from Dallas to Wichita. He's going to try to make it. That would be awesome. It'd be great to meet you, Classic Ride Society. Maybe we can do some cool stuff while you're there. So that would be cool if you can try to make it. Give me a shout if you're going to try to come up. And so maybe we can kind of coordinate and do some cool stuff while you're here. That'd be fun. So, but we go back. We're looking back to the old yellow notepad days. Not that I'm exactly organized with these sheets, but this was just jotting it on a yellow notepad. And this is kind of where we ended up last time. Why something may not be for sale. We talked about that last week. Some of the other stuff we talked about. This was. The week of when I went to the Springfield swap meet, we talked a lot about the Springfield swap meet on that one. Jason says Chad's my hero. I don't know about that. So, something else. This is very important, actually. And a lot of people don't get it. These are some of the topics that, the reason I started. Number one, 6 hours from Dallas to Wichita sounds like a terrible country song. That's probably true. That's kind of is what it sounds like. So, Kevin, I didn't hear when the swap meet is. March 11th and 12th, I think. That's a Friday and Saturday. Whatever that Friday and Saturday is. I think setup is the 10th, and it's 11th and 12th. BW, what's the story with the prop plane photo? Yeah, we did cover it fairly early. It's just a photo I got at an auction with a whole bunch of World War II stuff, so I don't know where it was taken. Just a super cool black and white B-29 picture. Bill says that's why he started subscribing again. But one thing that we did talk about back in 2020, Classic Ride Society, Springfield's great, went last year, and that is a great one, and I didn't make it last year. I didn't have anything going that weekend, but like 2 weekends before and like the weekend immediately following, everything was jam-packed, and getting to Springfield just wasn't going to work. That was the only weekend in like 4 or 5 week window that I wasn't booked. So big job, Chad, celebrity status. Pretty sure we're not quite there yet. So, but I appreciate the support from you guys for sure. But one thing there again that is very important that we talked about in these notes: don't make calling you back difficult. Super important. And it may not sound like a big deal, but if it's difficult for me to track you down, whether you're calling me for parts or really anybody, if I can't understand your voicemail, there's not much I can do for you. If you don't have voicemail when I call you back, there's not much I can do for you. I get tons of calls. I talk to dozens of people every day. And, after I get a few pages flipped through in my notebook of parts I'm checking, I'll forget to go back to you. So if you don't have voicemail, there's no way for you to know that I've tried to call you back. Calling me from one number and then leaving 2 other ones that are different from what you called on, 75% of the time I'm taking phone calls while I'm driving. So if I'm trying to track down what number to call you back on, that's difficult. If you have a phone, a keyboard, a phone system that you have to get through and, push pound and then push 1, then push 3, and then push an extension, that's so difficult for me to get through when I'm trying to call this many people back. Things like that. That was a topic we talked about back then, and it's even more true today. If you make it difficult to track you down, to get a hold of you when you've called me on parts, there ain't much I can do for you. So that was one of the topics we discussed. Bill says, hit the like button. Yeah, Bill's always got me on the back, got my back there. Kevin, is there a cost to get into these swap meets? I think Wichita is $5 to get in the door, and it all goes to charity. All the proceeds from the Wichita swap meet go to a nonprofit in Wichita called the ARC. And it's kind of a different program, but it is. I could definitely see the need for it. The ARC is a nonprofit in Wichita that helps people with children who are disabled, special needs, things like that. A lot of times, some of those children, are full-grown adults that can't take care of themselves, and obviously that means the parents are locked into 24-hour care, and the ARC helps support those people. It gets them help. It may help pay for some care so that the parents can get a break, things like that. So all proceeds from the Wichita swap meet, once the haul is paid, once any of the help is paid, once all the bills are paid, all those proceeds go to the ARC of Wichita, which is a nonprofit organization in Wichita, Kansas. So yeah, it's $5 to get in, but that's where the money's going. So it isn't that big a deal. You got to think of, if you think about those people in that situation, and if you had, or maybe some of you do have disabled children, and having somebody come in saying, hey, we're going to get somebody to come in and provide care for a couple of days so you can get a break. If it takes $5 to help an organization like that to allow all of us to go hang out at a swap meet, see each other, get to talk, get to BS, get to talk cars, get to look for car parts, hang out and have a good time, I think that's a pretty small sacrifice for what they're doing. So that's what it does cost $5 to get into the Wichita swap meet. As we mentioned earlier, all spaces are sold out at this point. So, big job, BW, going to Hollywood. Hollywood is 55 for a remake of American Graffiti. So, number one's call. He said he's called me twice. Yep. Yeah, that's but that's the thing. I try to do a good job on the phone, but sometimes it's hard. But if when people make it difficult for me to get a hold of them trying to call them back, there's not much I can do. And then they'll get mad at me because I didn't call them back. That's the frustrating part about it. So, Gary, never been to the Wichita swap meet. How many vendors? It's 8.5 hour drive. I don't know the total amount of vendors. You can look up Century 2 in Wichita. It is a pretty good size event. But total number of vendors, I'm not sure, or spaces. I should have asked John that, and I didn't remember. They also do have a website. It is Kansas Sunflower Swap Meet for Charity is the official name of it. Look up Kansas Sunflower Swap Meet for Charity. Look up Century 2. You can see the size of the facility and check that out and see maybe if some of you guys can make it to the Wichita Swap Meet. Coming up in, less than a month. Holy cow, I better start getting stuff ready. And definitely hope to see some of you there. So, and if there's anything I need to bring for somebody, let me know. Let's see. Jeff, Steel Ponies, Jeff, that's what makes the car hobby great because they help a lot of charities. And that's it exactly. And every year, inevitably, I hear a lot of people complaining about the $5. But it's, that's the frustrating part. They're not doing it to put it in their pockets. It's going to a charity. They're doing it for the right reasons. And even last year when it got canceled, a lot of guys, even when they cut 2020 short. So Friday and Saturday deal has been a Friday and Saturday deal for decades. Shortly after lunch on Friday, the city shut the event down. They said at 5:00 tonight, you're done. You can't go tomorrow. So they, what they did was, all the vendors could come back Saturday morning and tear down, but it was not open to the public. And, but a lot of people, me included, had already done my booth reservations for what would have been 21. And then last year, and they gave you the option, if you weren't coming back, they could refund your money. I was like, I don't care. I'm coming back next week. But a lot of people were upset. It's like, well, they shouldn't keep our money. They should just send it back to me and then I'll renew later. It's like, who cares? Is it that big a deal? But, because they're again, worst case scenario, they never have it. And my space booth goes to the charity. Wow. Is it, it has a good purpose. And spaces are $50 a piece. I think I've got 5. So it wasn't like it was a $5,000 investment. But it is a good deal and it is for a reason. So, Rick from North Carolina just jumped on Facebook. Let's see what else we got popping up here. Rusty Nails, number 1 was driving tow truck to work. Rusty helped on a recovery of a crashed B-29 in Nome, Alaska. Was part of the Lend-Lease during World War II. Still had the Russian star on the wing. Wow, that would be awesome, James. Sounds like a great story. Obviously, I love B-29. So, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think that was the Key Bird, which obviously led to a very sad end. But that would be awesome, Rusty. I'd love to hear the story on that. That's right, Kevin. The money does go to a great cause. And that's why when I heard people complaining about it, that's what we need to put in context is we're all at a swap meet, hanging out with our buddies, walking around with our buddies, looking at parts, chatting with people. And it's helping people that don't get that opportunity very often because of, family members in need of constant long-term care. So, Chad, great charity. Definitely going to try to make it. Eloy made it tonight. Glad you're here. Number 1, we can't have 2 Rusties on here. You're going to have to fight it out. So big job. Can't wait for the swap meet season. Classic Ride Society, since it's inside, should be mostly actual vendors. Instead of outdoor swap meets where a good number of spaces go to rigs. Yeah, pretty much. You've got to pull in, unload, and get out. And actually you can't, if you park in there, you're not going anywhere. So if you park your pickup in there after you unload, you better have a really close hotel, or you better have a ride because it's not leaving until like 5:00 on Saturday afternoon. So yeah, for the most part, you're exactly right. That's what it is. Kevin says there's 2 Kevins on, so that's okay. Yes, Kenny, in 2020, they did shut down for COVID on Saturday. That was right when things were really starting to break out. And so they actually shut the event down. They told them right shortly after lunch on Friday that you will not have a Saturday. Tell everybody you're done and they need to be out of here tonight, or the vendors can come back in the morning and pack up. So let's see. It seems like Jason's getting a little thirsty. Roddy, I just spent bucks a head in Denver to see Chevy parts. $5 is nothing. Yeah, it isn't. $5 isn't anything, but you'd be amazed at the amount of people that we're complaining about it. So Russian B-29 says number one. Actually, Russia captured one and copied it. So I guess they weren't technically B-29s, but they literally captured one, disassembled it, took the entire thing apart, and made an exact copy of it, essentially. Because I don't think there were any Lend-Lease B-29s with Russia, if I remember correctly, but I know they did make exact copies of them. Buchanan got his T-shirt, says really nice T-shirts. Glad you liked them. That's what Joe just popped up on Facebook. The only B-29 Russia had was the one they reverse engineered. So that's exactly where we're going with Joe. So that's perfect. Scott, the B-29 Fifi, I know the son of whose mom it's named after. That's cool. So yeah. So Buchanan got his T-shirts. They're right there. Anybody wants them? The information is in the text. You can be a nobody too if you want a nobody shirt. This one's getting kind of dirty. It's been hanging up there for a while. But the information to order those after we get done, if you go back and click on this video on Facebook or YouTube, the information to order those is in there. And I can bring some of the swap meet too if some of you guys are coming and you want me to bring shirts to the swap meet. So that's right, Robert. Same thing happened with cars in a lot of instances too. Sebastian's here. Glad you made it. Roddy said he just paid $15 a head to get into one. So yeah, $5 isn't any big deal. Jason says he needs to wash down his tater chips. Well, there you go. Yeah, number one, how do you tell a whole hall full of red-blooded hot rodders they have to go home early? There were some upset people, but there was nothing they could do about it. The city of Wichita came in and said, "You're done." There's no discussion. There's no talking about it. And believe it or not, we actually got lucky because there was a gun show in Wichita that same weekend that was a Saturday-Sunday deal. They were all in there unloading on Friday on their setup day, and they all got told to just pack up and go home. So we at least got one day, but the gun show on the other side of town got nothing. Literally told everybody was unloading their trucks, setting up, and they turned around and said, pack them up and head home. So, let's see. Some of these comments, if I get lost in some of these, so you guys may be commenting on something from a minute or two ago. And I apologize. Some of them I don't catch. So Soviets did that with BMW motorbikes and Fiat cars. So Jason needs another shirt. World of Wheels this winter by us in Wisconsin was $28 and 30 parking. Yeah, it don't surprise me. Chad says that was a Tupolev TU4 was their copy of the B-29. Jim says that's because it was guns. So Jason says he literally would have unloaded. So yeah, as crazy as it sounds, we were lucky to get our Friday in at the Wichita Swap Meet 2 years ago. So everybody's excited about it. Everybody's looking forward to this year and ready for a good swap meet. So I think it'd be great to see some of you guys there. Yeah, I'll tell these crazy hot rodders, you go to the law-abiding, amendment-loving gun owners to go home. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a bad deal. There was a lot of upset people. And, the thing about it is a lot of guys that were coming in from a pretty good distance, they may have left Friday morning if they were, a 3, 4, 5, 6 hour drive and maybe going to try to catch, a little bit of the swap meet on Friday and then plan on being there Saturday. And we're already half to 3/4 of the way there or just pulled in and had to turn around and go home. So, let's see. Terry's here. Glad you made it. Rusty Nails, we've got gray and black. So I do have the exact same thing in gray. So do you sell to vendors before the gates open to the public? I don't know what their stance is on that. Typically, you're not supposed to. It does happen. They've been a few years, they get real stingy on that. And some years they're not as stingy. So it's been kind of varied at that swap meet on what they can or can't do. Hudson Badge. But regardless, I'm glad we're going to get it in this year, at least the way it looks. Excited about it, and it's always a good time. And I'm actually more excited if some of you guys are going to make it. It'd be great if Classic Ride Society shows up. We can do some cool stuff. And any of you guys that are coming, let me know. If you need me to bring some parts or something, I can do that. Or, if anybody wants me to bring T-shirts, I can do that. Big Job, are you going to list information on the upcoming F&E auction this year? And how many are you shooting for? Yes, we are going to get on that here soon because I'll need some information to take the swap meet with me. So Chris, my partner, Chris Frosher, and I need to get together here within the next few weeks and get started on that. We've got a few consignments already that pretty cool stuff. 34 Ford Coupe, really nice 34 Ford Coupe, street rod, 71 Grand Prix. So few things starting to, getting some calls, some things starting to come together, some stuff for the flyer. So we'll have that for, for the Wichita Swap Meet. Jess and Rico are here tonight. Glad you guys made it. And we're going to see Rico at the Swap Meet. I know that. So, but going to be a good time. Excited about it. Even more excited knowing that some of you guys might try to make it. So how about some badges and emblems? Let's get rolling into that. Of course, we still got this one here. But tonight we're going to check out a couple of them, as always. First one we're going to check out is one of my all-time favorites. And that's basically because this is what I cut my teeth on. So I've always loved this badge. It was introduced in 1937 and used up into the mid-50s. And we've got a little bit I was able to find a little bit of information on it to go along with it. So we're going to check it out here. Like I said, this is one of my favorites. This is what I literally cut my teeth on. This is what I learned as a kid about this stuff. Obviously, if you haven't figured it out, if you haven't watched any of the videos from my dad's place when we were moving his cars out, he started with Buicks. I cut my teeth on Buicks, primarily 40s and 50s Buicks. So there's our badge for tonight. I've got this badge in all kinds of variations. Like I said, they started using it in 1937. I've got that one. This particular one is a 47-48 trunk ornament badge. On the trunk of the 47-48 Buicks, they had two plastic lenses on either side of this in an inset of a chrome housing. This piece here was in the middle of the two plastic centers. One side said Buick, the other side said 8 on a 47-48, with the exception of the 48 Roadmaster, which said Dynaflow, other than the first couple months of production of the 48 Roadmaster. The first few months of production of the 48 Roadmaster was still a manual transmission. Then they went to the Dynaflow. Then the trunk plastic insert said Dynaflow on the Roadmasters only for about 3/4 of 1948 production. But this was the piece that went in the middle of those plastics on the trunk. Joe says that badge definitely stands out. Yep. Sebastian just got a 70 Coupe de Ville and a diesel Cadillac from some year in the 70s. So sounds like cool stuff. Sebastian digs this badge too. I did a little research. This shield was based, and I thought it was based on the Buick coat of arms. However, Lee digs it too. Was kind of interesting what I found. David Dunbar Buick, the founder of Buick, was born in Scotland. The original spelling of his name was B-U-I-K. There was no C in it. However, no actual representation of the original crest has been found. Company officials turned to a description in the Burke Book of Heraldry from 1851 to find this, the Buick crest. Jason loves badges, so number one, those badges from the era when the grill and bumper outweighed the engines. Yeah. But the description from the Burke Book of Heraldry that Buick company officials found reads, GU, a bend checky ARAZ DETW, a buck's head crazed in chief and cross-cooped and pierced or in base, whatever that means. We're going to get into a little bit of stuff here. Buchanan just says, I like. Yeah, it's a great piece. I've got a ton of different ones of these. We'll work several of them in. I think I've got about all the enamel ones that they made. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Then you get into some of the later stuff. They did use these on a plastic insert getting into the 50s, but I've got a lot of these. Actually, they started with the plastic inserts on the hood of the 48. The first sentence describes the background features of the now famous shield. The red field is derived from the GU, the GU, with our red background. The bend reference is for a diagonal running from the upper left corner to the lower right. Obviously, we've got this band. This is all coming from this description of the shield from the Burke Book of Heraldry. The next up is the AR dot. The color silver, and AZ translates to azure, which is where our silver band with our blue diamonds in it comes from. Let's see. Pete Winters, Tommy Likey. Kenny says, I haven't seen a badge yet that I didn't like. Number one, Mr. Buick. That reminds me of the movie where Marilyn Monroe wants to marry Mr. Cadillac. Big Job says the explanation is all Greek to him. It kind of is. That's why I'm kind of trying to walk through it piece at a time, which is what this description that I found on Hemmings online broke it down to. The second sentence, part one, the buck's head is exactly that. A buck's head right here. The erased, E-R-A-Z-E-D, means jagged edge of the neck. A buck's head with a jagged edge of the neck. Chief means placed in the upper right corner, which is where the buck's head is. Is this metal or plastic? This is all metal with like a porcelain or a enamel inlay is what this is. So it's all metal with an enamel inlay. The second sentence mentions the cross or gold was to be the intended color, obviously right here, the cross in the lower corner. Pierced in the center with the red field showing behind, to be placed in the left lower corner, which is exactly what we have right here. It is pierced in the middle of the cross, showing the red underneath the cross. So there again, a very complicated description from the GU dot a bend checky AR and AZ DETW, a buck's head erased in chief and cross coupled and pierced in base. So that's what it all is supposed to mean. So Kenny says Chad speaks Greek. Don't even understand it, but number one says it's jewelry. Yep. Big Job. Need a drink. Maybe you'll get it. All right. We definitely got to get that. Yes, Joe, this was what was believed to be the Buick family crest badge, is what they are deducing from the company official study of the Burke Book of Heraldry from 1851. Rusty Nails, I see a lot of badges I don't like. Toyota, Kia, Nissan. I'm down with that. I don't really like that stuff either. Definitely not my cup of tea. So that's the scoop behind the Buick badge. From 1937 to 1941, the shield was a slender, elongated form, typically between the grill. The grill redesigned in 42, so was the shield, and it went on the front edge of the hood in 42. So, like I said, I've got a lot of these. I love them. We've got a lot of cool stuff that we will be working into this, and then obviously later in life, Buick went to the extremely well-known Tri-Shield. However, these are definitely one of my favorite badges, period, of these Buick family crest badges from 37 up into the 50s. This particular one, since I said it, like I said, it is a trunk badge from a 47 or a 48. It is just over 2 inches tall and almost 2 inches wide. So we're about 2.25 here, almost 2 across here. So you have an idea on the size. This did have studs on the back of it that mounted it to the pot metal housing before it went to the trunk. So what we're looking at is, and I've got one off of a 42 out on the shelf that we'll get worked in here one of these days. You've got a pot metal housing. You've got a badge similar to this on several of those years, including that 42. And you've got the plastic inserts that went in them. And even like on 39 and 40, those actual plastic inserts lit up. So, you've got just the trunk ornament was that many pieces. For a trunk ornament or badge now, you get a piece of plastic with a piece of double-sided tape slapped to the back of your trunk lid. You got a pot metal housing, a badge similar to this, 2 plastic inserts, and in certain instances, the letters were actual metal. They weren't just cast into the plastic. They actually had metal letters. The Buick 8 were metal. The Dynaflow on the 48s were metal letters attached to the plastic, which went in the pot metal housing just for the trunk ornament. So Big Job says those badges should be outlawed. Yeah, they're probably kind of dangerous, but Joe says auction. If I auction any of these, I will have to have multiples of them. So, but we'll look and see. I may do one of these days, but like I said, these are one of my favorite types of badges. For obvious reasons, as far as coolness, plus my history of Buicks and cutting my teeth in the Buick world, because that's what Dad did. That's what I learned on. That's how I ended up here on Sunday night, February 20th, hanging out with you guys. So Kevin likes the red and gold. Jason says good old Americana. Yeah, it's a great piece. Big fan of it. Really dig it. And like I said, I've got a bunch of different variations of this that we're definitely going to get worked in over time. Actually, there's a Buick Badge right over there. It's different, but we can auction that tonight if you guys want. I actually didn't have it out for tonight's auction, but it's still laying right there. So we can do that if you want. Big job. Backlit badge or hood wings that lit were always cool. Yep, that's for sure. Next badge we're going to check out. We're going to move up into the muscle car world to one that I bet pretty much all of you guys are very familiar with, the iconic Dodge RT Emblem. Tony thinks it's cool too. So this is a big, heavy pop metal emblem, and this is fairly decent sized. We'll lay a tape across this thing, and this thing is 6.5 inches by almost 3.5. So this thing is 6.5 across here and almost 3.5 from top to bottom. So Kenny says he's glad for the show. He thinks it's great. That's awesome. BW's Garage is bidding on stuff. We're not even to the auction yet. So. But this actual badge here, I've had this for years. This came out of a salvage yard that Dad and I bought a bunch of parts out of back in the early 90s. There was a salvage yard in Hutchinson, Kansas called Vintage 10 that was full of old cars. They crushed it in 91, 92, something like that. And they had a deep single car garage, and we bought the contents of that garage. This badge was in there. So I kept it for my emblem collection. So yeah, I've always been, always I always love these emblems. This one actually, the studs are broken on it. So there's, it's not mountable. Actually, it's got silicone on it. If you can see the silicone, because when I was in college, I don't know if we had this glued to the refrigerator or what we did, but we had this glued to something in college to decorate our house with. So that's why there's silicone all over the back of it, but no mounting studs. They were broke off before I ever found it. This badge right here is 1969 Coronet or Charger RT on the quarter panel. If we look at it flat, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. It's got a slight curvature to it where it would have mounted on the curvature on the side of the quarter panel. So, Bill, where's Gray Kitty? Gray Kitty is actually over there on top of the fridge. Hey, Dum Dum, wake up. She's paying zero attention to us. So, but now she's up there snoozing. I can see her. That's right. Big job. We can double side tape it, but it could always be used for that. But there again, it's just another cool piece out of my collection. I've had it for 30 years, but so I've always grabbed badges and emblems. Rusty Nell says Charger smaller. According to the part number on the back, this was Charger and Coronet for 69, but it was showed 69 only. But that's what the part number showed because it's got one cast in the back. So that's right, Kenny. It is a pretty thick badge, but condition-wise, it looks great. It is original paint, original chrome. Just no mounting studs on it. So, Tony, that's right, road and track. So, neat piece. Obviously, I've had it in my collection for a long time. So, there again, I've had this for 30 years. We got a long ways to go on badges and emblems, guys. If you guys are still digging this segment and you still like it, we got a long ways to go. I got a lot of cool stuff to dig out yet. So, that's right, Sebastian. If you can't save the car, grab the badges. So, this was already off the car in that building is where I found this. So, Jason says we said Dum Dum and his daughter looked up. Yeah, that's what I tried to call the cat to wake her up, but she's paying zero attention to any of us. Shop Cat still has the Pontiac badge from his 70 Parisienne on his shop wall. Mr. PFF Flyer loved Dodge RT so much, he had a dog named RT. And Rusty Nail says he wants it. Well, like I said, a lot of the stuff we check on in this segment is my own personal stuff that I don't really want to sell, kind of like the Hudson badge. But like I said, I've got a lot of stuff I will sell. That's the purpose of the auction. We'll keep moving, working some of that stuff in. So that's what we've got for the badge segment tonight. Put that off to the side. Pete loves the badges and emblem segment. That's great. I'm glad you guys do. And honestly, Joe just says badges, more badges. So we can absolutely keep doing that. And that's why I always value your guys' feedback on some of this stuff. And I'm curious as to what you guys want to do with it. So the fact that you guys are digging the badge and emblem segment means we'll definitely keep doing it. We haven't done any hood ornaments in a while. We need to slide a few hood ornaments into that segment as well. So anyway, let's get to tonight's magazine. And then we're going to auction off some stuff. I've actually got a couple pieces here for the auction. I forgot about that Buick badge laying right over there too. Kevin says, I'd love that Hudson badge bad. BW said badges are the highlight for him. Shop Cat, so we have Primer, RT, My Kittens, Briggs, and Stratton. What other auto-themed pet names do we have? Yeah. What's the story on the picture right behind you, picture behind you right of the GM sign? Oh, with the girl? That's I forgot. Oh, I keep forgetting who it is. About every couple weeks that comes up. I assume that's which one you're talking about, and I can't even remember who it is right now. It's been up there for so long that I kind of forget about it. So yeah, and I'll remember it one of these days. But yeah, I don't remember who it is. It's been there so long that I can't remember. I know some of you guys know who it is. We'll get it here in just a sec. Heather Thomas. Yeah, that's right. Kim got it up there because I knew some of you guys remember. Jason says he's got a dog named Mac. My Mac's hanging out with me too. Mac's right here. Mac always sits right beside me. I know you guys can't see him. He's right here in my Carter carburetor parts rack that I use for paperwork and clipboards and notepads. Joe, hood ornaments from 60 to 66 Chevy trucks. Don't really have anything cool for those right now. Let's see. Mr. PFF Flyer, also named a Shepherd Wolf mixed dog. Sebastian, always look on eBay, see the value of the badges that we show. Mr. PFF's dog's named Shelby. Shaler Noah, you have my dream job. You're doing God's work. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Rusty Nails has a ram hood ornament. Josh, I named my daughter Phoenix after the Firebird. That's a good name. Number one, do you have the Mac Bulldog hood ornament radiator cap ashtray? No, do not have that. Jason's has one that the eyes light up. So Scott says she's a beauty. So. But anyway, let's get headed towards the magazine for tonight. That was actually sent to me by a viewer who's on with us tonight because he already asked if you weren't on early, he asked if this was here. And it is, and we've got it right here to share with everybody tonight. So it's awesome when you guys do that, when you contribute to the show. And, it's cool that you send me this stuff for my collection. But when you do send me this stuff, I absolutely want to share it with everybody because that's the purpose of this group and what we do here is we have a good time and we all learn stuff and we all share stuff and we all have a blast. But the magazine that Mike sent me, I typically try to mix up the magazines a little bit. And we did 1962 last week, and we're going to do 62 again tonight because Mike sent me a copy of an October 62 issue of Speed Mechanics. So there it is. Shop Cat, my middle daughter's named Amelia after Miss Earhart. But that was before I learned about Katie Stinson. So I've been to Amelia Earhart's where she was born, to her house in Atchison, Kansas. Number one says the Dirty Magazine segment is his favorite. Jason's other dog's named Elwood Blues. The story behind the magazine we're looking at, Mike says he found it in a crawl space in a house that he bought in Topeka about 18 years ago. So that's where Mike found this magazine. We've got it right here tonight to share with you. Huge shout out to Mike for thinking of not only me, but for all of us, because there's some cool stuff in here we're going to check out. Like a lot of these magazines, there's so much cool stuff that I had to kind of pick and choose, but we got a lot of cool stuff to check out. So thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Let's check it out. We're all going to see what Mike sent to us to share with everybody tonight. Starting off with, on page 8, the cover car. Right here, the twin engine cover car is where we're going to start. Kenny says, thanks, Mike. That's right. That's great. Meet the Mayhem, the dragster on the cover. And there again, everything inside is all black and white. That's about all they had. You got a color cover, and that was about it. So, and got some guys throwing up some thanks to Mike, and that's great. That's super, super cool that everybody's throwing that out there because we all appreciate this. But the Mayhem, and there again, back in '62, they worked with what they had. The unusual front end includes a 48 Ford front axle that has been dropped 4 inches. The wheel spindles have been reversed left for right to place the tie rod ahead of the axle, thus eliminating interference with the frame during axle movement. So, wrap your brain around that. You know, anymore you order a subframe kit or you get a subframe for something, or you order a Mustang 2-type rack and put in your hot rod. This was a 48 Ford front axle, dropped, flipped the spindle side to side because they needed to get their steering up here in front of the axle and out of the way of obviously we can see their spring right there, fuel lines. There again, you didn't get the catalog out and order this stuff. You figured it out. That's what's amazing about this stuff. And we can see it right here. It told us exactly what they did. We can see it right here exactly what they did. So Mike says, glad to share. Well, thanks. We're all glad you did. I'm sure by the time we get done with this magazine, a lot of these other guys are going to be really happy that you did as well because there's some cool stuff in here. So Shopcat says, I dare anyone to steal my identity because number one told Shopcat to quit giving out personal information. Shopcat says, I dare anyone to steal my identity. It'll be worse than their current one. So that's right, Josh. Safe place for a fuel tank. That's for sure. Big Job says, neat magazine. Wow. Josh is right there. Kevin says, that's cool. Bill says, thanks, Mike. Shopcat says, I have to work. My new Foreman is much less cool. But we can get a better shot of the car right here from the side. We can see those twin engines. Obviously, superchargers on both of them. I believe these were both Chevys. I don't remember if it said what they were. Yes, twin Chevy powered with a total cubic inch displacement of 680 cubic inches. Estimated horsepower at the flywheel of 900. So I'm guessing if these are 340 Chevys, I'm going to guess that these were punched 327s in '62, or there were 283s that were that were bored and stroked to to a 327 level, then taking another step forward to a 340 horse because 62 would have been, I believe, the first year for the 327. This is October of '62. They could have been early 327s that were punched out, is what I'm guessing. So they got 340 cubic inches out of each one. Flywheel horsepower of 900. This little dragster turned 160 mile an hour with an ET of 990 the first time out, which is great. That's super cool. And then you think about the technology, and you could go to Dodge and buy a Demon off the showroom floor that ran 990s in a full-bodied car. Crazy to think about the way technology has changed, but also super cool to see this stuff. And we need to keep moving because there's a lot of cool stuff in here. But something else that I wanted to point out on the Mayhem before we go any further was these superchargers. I'm going to try to hold this up so you can see it a little closer. It's going to be on this front end picture here. Chain drive on the supercharger right there on the snout of that supercharger. Man, if that thing came zinging off of there, that'd be interesting with that thing wound up. Chain driven supercharger. There again, that, definitely something a little different. Oh, let's keep moving here. The next article, swap that 6 for superpower. Dropping a 60 Corvette mill into a 51 Ford 2-door. And this is for 62, a pretty high-tech article. Gets into a lot of details, including suspension, exhaust, steering, a lot of pictures. Once again, all black and white. That's right, Big Job. You lose a limb if that thing come off. Mr. BFF Flyer, that chain looks like a Widowmaker in the making. That's about right. That's for sure. Jim says October of 62 was in the 63s were at the dealer, so those probably were some early 327s punched out. Number one, hide some chicken feathers in your hand and then cough in your hand and let the feathers go. Yeah, I bet you get a sick day. There you go. So for a tech article in 62, you know, this was pretty in-depth. And it gets into a lot of stuff here, a lot of pictures, shows the engine sitting in the car, talks about, you know, a lot of things, you know, springs, all the stuff to do a complete correct swap, setting it up inside the car, pedals, shifter. We can see the aftermarket tack on the 51 Ford column there. Let's see. BW says cool. Number one, how'd they make those dragsters front 10 spokes without 3D printers? I don't know. So for a tech article in 62, a lot of neat stuff in it. Like I said, no way to get through all the details in it. It would take forever, but still great stuff. Let's jump up a few more pages here to the Miami Masterpiece. The Miami Masterpiece, once again, a front engine dragster. Started with a Linwood welding chassis, one of the many prefabricated frames now available, and selected other components wisely. The result is all this to own this fine machine. Now, one thing that's really interesting about some of the stuff that's totally different was the headers on this. This was a basic slingshot type dragster that they had in this. Jim says the 62 Vet 327 was 340 horse, so I bet these were punched out to 327s that they had cranked out with that blower in there on both of those. Number one, no math in this chat. One cool thing about it, look at these headers. Look at those zoomies coming off this thing. They stuck way out there. And as with all these slingshots, look where you're sitting. Your legs are going right over the rear diff. Not much to these things. You know, pretty archaic. And let's go forward a few more pages and check out a couple more things. To the dragster in disguise. Now, the reason this caught my attention was the background of the pictures as well as the engine choice for this dragster. This actually was a somewhat local car. And I'm not 100% sure that these pictures were not taken in Great Bend here at our drag strip. Anytime I see a drag strip that, you know, just looks like wide open spaces and completely flat with a ton of concrete, I think about obviously Great Bend. So I glanced at the article, and this was a Wichita, Kansas car. So not sure, but these pictures could have been taken here. I didn't see anything in the article that proved that, but it sure looks like it could have been. Big job. Number one, they started with an old wagon wheel and cast it for the dragster wheels. PFF Flowers is Diggers from Miami. I wonder if they ever raced against Tampa Dawn. Very well could have. BW living the Miller High Life. Yeah, we haven't helped you guys out with that in a while, so we better do that. Bill, we had a sprint car in the area driving a chain-driven supercharger, and the fuel tank was way too close. But this thing's cool. Dragster in disguise. Like I said, look at the background of these pictures. Looks an awful lot like our drag strip here in Great Bend, Kansas. Very flat, tons and tons of concrete. Once again, pretty basic. Not much to these things. Now, what really surprised me was this engine choice that they had in this. Because obviously the engine is something I always want to look at. It said it was Pontiac powered. So it's a Kansas car. It looks like the pictures were taken in Great Bend. It's Pontiac powered. That obviously intrigues me. A 430-inch Pontiac, and this is in 62. Obviously, my first assumption is this is a punched 421 because the 421s were available by then. They weren't very plentiful, but they were out there. You could punch out a 421 to a 430 pretty easily. Number one, the supercharger train drive must have way bigger friction losses than belts. Now, I think it was just a safety issue deal. The chain comes off and it's going. A belt comes off and it just falls. So. So 430 Pontiac, I'm obviously thinking this is a 421 punched, or maybe a 389 with some stroke in it. Because before the 389 was the 58 engine, which was a 370. So I flipped through the article. Power is provided by a 430 cubic inch Pontiac engine of the 57 vintage, which I found extremely interesting right here, where it says it's a 57 vintage Pontiac engine. 57 Pontiac was only a 347 to start with. So they did a lot of work to get that thing to a 430. Obviously, you see they drilled the front axle for weight. Brian said, I think I saw him in Ottawa. So, but neat car. You can see the interior shot here as well with the funky steering wheel, the gauges, the tack. Like I said, this stuff was the technology is what they had of the day, but obviously nothing compared to like what we're used to seeing today in these circles. We'll jump up a couple pages to another tech article. Like I said, there's just so much cool stuff in all these magazines. Buzz with Roadkill Customs. Those old mags and photos are fascinating. Yeah, it's cool stuff. And once again, all you guys be sure to check out Roadkill Customs, Buzz's website. Tons of cool stuff on there. Tons of good information on there. He put some of my stuff up, but the DIY stuff that he has on Roadkill Customs, you guys have got to check out. The wheelbase charts to decide what frames you can use for frame swaps, tire and wheel charts for bolt patterns and offsets. Great information on Roadkill Customs. Super happy the Buzz has been hanging out with us on here. Check that out. Roadkill Customs, a lot of great stuff on there and tons of DIY stuff that is really tough to find, and he's got it on there. So definitely check that out. Speaking of DIY and tech articles, preparing Chevy heads for competition. Now, there's not very many magazines out there that don't have articles on small block Chevy heads. What's the big deal about the article on small block Chevy heads? Well, this is why it stood out to me. I've seen it, and I actually flipped right past it to begin with. But we've got to put this stuff in context. We're going back with 2020 hindsight. We're in 2022 looking back at 1962. 1962, the small block Chevy had only been out for 7 years. They weren't plentiful. They weren't everywhere. A lot of them were still in cars working. This was brand new tech, small block Chevy heads. That's the same thing as going and pulling the motor out of a 2015 Camaro to put in your dragster. So there again, when you put it into perspective and you put the time frames in the spots, that was a new tech article for the day. Basic small block Chevy heads. So that's all I wanted to bring that up. It's kind of an interesting way to look at it. Like I said, I flipped right past it to start with, but it caught my attention. Next article we're going to jump up to, B is for Beautiful. This is another great-looking dragster. And once again, it caught my attention for similar reasons to the last one. Not 100% sure that these pictures were not shot in Great Bend as well. Once again, a dragster from Wichita, Kansas. And this one is one of the more iconic layouts we're familiar with from that day. With a Chrysler Hemi in it, packing a 392. Little short, I say short wheelbase compared to what we're used to on dragsters today. But 392 Hemi powered, once again, sitting right over the rear end. Cool little butterfly steering wheel. Big, long headers, getting that exhaust out away from the tires. Make sure you've got good clearance there. We see the Hemi with all the carburetor stacked on top of it. Like I said, Wichita, Kansas car. And I'm not 100% sure these pictures weren't here as well. But the other thing about it is there were multiple air bases in that time frame in Kansas running races. There were races in Walker, Kansas. This could have been Walker, which is a little ways north of Great Bend. I think they had them in Salina. They still do have them in Salina once a year for the KKOA event, Custom Camps of America. They have drag races at the airport at Salina. So not necessarily guaranteed to be Great Bend, but sure looks like it, or possibly one of these other Kansas-based air bases that were having drag races in the early 60s. So, number one, what's the scatter shield? Fruit of the Looms. That's about it. Yep, you literally drape your legs right over the axle tubes. So yeah, Fruit of the Looms is your scatter shield on your differential, and that's about it. And if we get that picture up there real close, I hope you guys can see it. There's your gas pedal. there's your brake pedal, leg 1, leg 2, differential. So, yep, Fruit of the Looms was your scatter shield pretty much if you had an issue with your rear diff. Buchanan, sweet baby Hemis. Yeah, that's right. Jason, a little high life for the low life. Nothing wrong with that. Rusty Nail says, is that an Eaton rear end? I'm not sure, and it does not say. So, but regardless, a pretty cool piece. One more article we're going to look at, and then we're going to get into some ads. Once again, a tech article that we need to put ourselves back in time for. Mr. PFF Flower seat looked like a folding lawn chair. That's about it. That's pretty much about what it looked like. Troubleshoot your generator. Yep. Alternators were just starting to come on the scene. Troubleshoot your generator because that's pretty much what everything had. Now, the reason this article stood out to me was not for this picture here, but for the next page where it really gave a great breakdown of generators because that's what almost everything still had. Obviously, almost a thing of the past that none of us even really think about unless it's something on our older vehicle that needs one, but great tech information for that period in time. So there's some of the articles in the Speed Mechanics, thanks to Mike. Now let's check out some of the ads, and then we're going to get into the auction, the trivia, the pedal car raffle, and new inventory and videos coming up for next week. So let's get into some ads. Starting off with, obviously, when I flipped this ad up, I thought it was J.C. Whitney, but it's not. It's a company called Newhouse Automotive Industries. There's a few of you that might remember this. Very similar to a J.C. Whitney ad. Lists just a lot of cool stuff, but this was for the Newhouse company. So something a little different. But it definitely reminded me of the J.C. Whitney ads of that era. Wheel covers, grills, shifter kits, things like that. All the common things that we see in these 60s magazines right here. So BW's Garage is fading fast, heading to bed. So you're going to miss the auction. It's coming up next, BW. You might stick around for that. Then we're going to get to the J.C. Whitney ad because these all had them. It was guaranteed. There wasn't much that didn't have J.C. Whitney ads in them. And they really went all out in this one. This was 2 pages and a lot of cool stuff. So we'll hold this one up here for a second and point out a few things that we see in this 2-page big J.C. Whitney ad. Imported crash helmets, in-car record players. How about a shaggy rear deck mat? Yep, you could order a shaggy rear deck mat from J.C. Whitney at that point. So, and this is something we don't see in a lot of these. This big, save money. Typically J.C. Whitney crammed as much stuff in their ads as they possibly could. As we can tell by all the little tiny boxes and all the little tiny print, they usually didn't waste much. This is odd for a J.C. Whitney ad to have this, almost a fourth of the ad taken up by something they weren't trying to sell you. So big job. Eat a handful of sugar, BW. So a lot of cool stuff in these things. Like I said, we could do a whole episode on a J.C. Whitney ad because there's so much cool stuff in there to check out. How about earn big money? Learn auto mechanics at home in your spare time. Yep, we see a lot of these in the 60s, and that's a lot of cool stuff too. Learn auto mechanics at home in your spare time. Order their handy dandy program. Once they sell you their program, they're good to go. But that happened. That was how some of the tech training happened back then. So still different to look back at what we're dealing with today with all the electronics and the schooling and the tech training it takes to work on cars. Where here you order the kit and did it at home. So two ads on this next page. We'll start off with the Suntac and then we'll check out the other one because the other one is super cool. It caught my attention. I almost think I might ought to have some of these made or something similar to it. It was so cool. We'll start off with right down here at the bottom, the iconic Suntac ad. Everything had these back in that day. You know, 4th page ad. And obviously it shows the dragster with the Suntac prominently displayed. And then, of course, a good close-up picture of the tack. Sebastian, imagine trying to collect all the J.C. Whitney accessories. Yeah, that'd be crazy. So the Suntac ad, great ad. The next ad on this page, super awesome. Could you please hold the lower graphic up opposite the Learn ad? The lower graphic opposite the Learning ad. We'll do that real quick before we get to this other one. Oh, yeah, it's kind of a sketch right there. It's kind of a sketch that some like Indy cars or something. So not sure what it was about. Didn't read any of that stuff. But there again, there's so much stuff in these things. You know, we'd be here till tomorrow morning if we tried to catch it all. But that's what it is. The other one on this is so cool. Like I said, I always thought, it's like, man, I ought to get some of these printed. The Mad Torquer decal. Get yours now. Everyone with a real going machine is sporting this colorful symbol of a mechanic. From the Sturtevant Company, the Mad Torquer decal of a torque wrench sitting in a seat with a nice set of long legs, hand on the shifter. You can see the head of the torque wrench, eyes right there, helmet zinging back. Pretty cool piece. Never thought of anything like that. Thought it was pretty neat, though. Definitely a sign of the times. Definitely nothing I've ever seen before, but I thought was super cool. So really curious as to what you guys think about that, because it is a neat piece. A cool ad, and would be a really cool decal. Sebastian, print some of the ads off as posters. Yep, that might be a possibility as well. Couple of more ads that we're going to catch. This ad, another J.C. Whitney ad. Buzz at Roadkill needs a Mad Torquer decal. Yeah, I thought they were cool. Number one, you need to make Chad Torquer decals. That's kind of a good idea too. Yep. Sebastian, maybe sell them as merch. Big Job likes the sticker. Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat. And just like it says in the ad, get yours now. Everyone with a real going machine is sporting this colorful symbol of a mechanic. So it says it was the Sturtevant Company, and the lettering says, I've been torqued by Sturtevant. So Carter's here and new to the chat. Glad you made it tonight. If you like old cars and you like old memorabilia, then you're in the right place. So thanks for being here, Carter. Hope you enjoy the chat. Hope you come back again. The J.C. Whitney, and we've seen some of these before, straight line, lightning fast floor shift conversion kits. Converts column shift transmissions to floor shift. Has all of the kits lined up there. Buchanan says it's like car porn. Yeah. That's right, Roadkill Customs. It's a real going machine. That's exactly what it says in the ad. Just like these straight line, lightning fast floor shift conversion kits, readily available from the J.C. Whitney Company. All these specific applications are listed in here where you can order the exact kits for your particular vehicle. So those ads are always great. The last ad we're going to check out tonight, another school. Big pay security opportunity for you in auto mechanics and diesel. Your spare time pays off big with our world famous shop tested home training. Kevin says he needs one of those kits for his 51 Hudson. Got some guys welcoming Carter into the chat tonight. Jim says he put one in his 55 Chevy in 1962. Holy cow, that's cool. Jim actually used one of those kits. That's super awesome. Let's check it out. In his 55 Chevy, I assume that would probably have been a car, Jim. Let's see. Chevrolet passenger car. 55 to 62 standard transmission with overdrive or without overdrive. Non-spring loaded was $14.95. Spring loaded was $19.95. So if you were going to do that today, Jim, without an overdrive, you would need the deluxe stock number would be $5.99. If you want the economy stock number, you need to order unit number 179. So in case you need to do that again, Jim, that's what you need. 51 Hudson. Did they need to show one for the 51 Hudson? Nope, Hudson didn't make the cut in this ad. So nothing on the 51 Hudson for this one. Number one, the worst part of those ads was trying to use small enough penmanship to fit on their fill-in forms. Yeah, because there's the order form right down there in the corner. Not much room there to work with. Scott says never seen that one. With us on Facebook. Still got some guys hanging in there on Facebook. Sebastian starting a new job as a diesel tech. So that's everybody wish Sebastian good luck. That's great that you're going into that field. Tons of people need it in that field. So hope everything goes well, and we all wish you luck and hope it goes outstanding. You'll have to keep us posted as your new job gets going. Jason says, did somebody say Hudson? Yep. Number one says, splurge, Jim Petty. It's worth it. So, and lots of guys out there with support for Sebastian. That's great. Jim, the old shifter kept locking up under the hood. That's why he went with one of those. So, number one, Sebastian, don't forget your lunch. So, and that's what's great. Tons and tons of support for Sebastian starting his new job as a diesel tech tomorrow. That's what's awesome about everybody in this chat. Everybody supports everybody else, and that's what makes it what it is. So, there was the other at-home school auto mechanics and diesel ad in this issue of Speed Mechanics from October 62, sent to Aspire friend Mike to add to my collection and share with everybody in the chat. Huge shout out to Mike. A lot of you guys already thanked him. I'm going to thank him one more time because it's awesome that you guys support what we do here by doing things like this. So thanks, Mike. Hope you guys all enjoyed it and really helped make the chat tonight. So anyway, who's ready for some auction stuff? I got two things laid out, but I forgot I had that other badge over there. So we'll start off with what I had out to start with. We're going to do a can. We'll start off with a can tonight because we hadn't done a can in a week or two, I don't think. So starting off with tonight's first auction piece, if you guys are ready. I know you guys are trying to buy my other badges already, but those are not on the auction at this point for tonight. Tonight, we're going to start off with a GM polishing cloth can. Jim says, thanks for the memories, Mike. That's a great way to put it. So a GM polishing cloth can. This is late 40s, early 50s. It's got a couple of chunks of paint missing on the front of it. That's what detracts from it the worst. This would have been the GM logo right here, and a little piece of the car is gone. We can still see the outline of the rest of the car. Definitely looks late 40s. Polishing cloth. We've got some red and white stripes here. Wax-treated flannel cloth for car and home use. General Motors Parts Division. General Motors Corporation. On the back of the can, it gives you directions. For best results, use cloth folded, will not scratch or injure the finest finish. Removes dust, dry, mud, grease spots, cleans and polishes at the same time. The Afner uses use the brighter with luster. Dirt will not affect the cloth, will last for months under daily use. When one part becomes dirty, fold it in. The polishing cloth absorbs dust and dirt without injury to any finish. When cloth becomes sufficiently dirty, it may be washed in lukewarm water and mild soap. Do not use on wet surfaces. Keep in can when not in use. All that information is on the back. Bill, the older magazine's better than newer ones. Number one, yeah, what's it smell like? Sebastian, where I live, the diesel pump nozzles are green. And they're green here, too. Because we did, number one said Sebastian used the yellow pump. But the GM polishing cloth can is going to be our first auction piece tonight. It does still have the cloth in it. It is dirty. It does still have the original lid on it for automobiles and furniture. So, not the best one out there, but still a cool piece. You can definitely still see a lot of the car on it and see what it's all about. And you can read most of the lettering and the writing and everything on it. So anyway, there's the first auction piece. Anybody wants to start us off? I need this original cap snap back on there because I don't want to lose it. On the GM polishing cloth can, what am I bid? If anybody wants to jump in and get things rolling on the GM polishing cloth bid, we got a few cans. Rusty Nails is in at 5. I got a couple more comments I've got to catch. Bill says that's the best part of finding old magazines. Rusty Nails says has one just like it, but it's a blue Mopar one. So big job. Worst part of us having empty cans in the shop is everyone target practices in the backyard. Lee's in at 10. Anyone with original lacquer paint that needs a 10 and cloth for their car or truck. Yep. I've got Lee at 10 on the GM polishing cloth can. Keep an eye on Facebook as well. If any of you guys want to bid on Facebook, you're absolutely welcome to. I'll keep an eye on both formats to see who wants to jump in on the GM polishing cloth can for tonight. Like I said, unfortunately, if the GM logo was there, it would be a lot better. Unfortunately, it's not. So that's kind of what we're up against. Cool can. I've got Lee at 10. If anybody else wants to get in, we'll check it out for a little bit, and then we'll put it on a timer here shortly on the polishing cloth can. As always, once again, once I put stuff on the timer, guys, you've got to get those bids in and get them in early. I've got some, inevitably, the last 2 or 3 weeks it's happened. As soon as I announce it sold, within 10 seconds, another bid will pop up. And some of these guys are saying they're putting them in 20, 30 seconds ahead of the time running out. So we are at the mercy of the system. It's got to get to me, before I mark it sold to get something done. So please keep that in mind when you're doing your bid. Get your max bid in. Make sure it's got enough time to get through the system and get processed. So this one's, I've got Kenny at 12. This one might go cheap. It might be a deal, guys. Kenny's in at 12. We're going to get ready to put it on the timer. Keep that in mind. I will announce 15 seconds. I'll announce 30 seconds. I'll announce 45 seconds. That's right, Jason, lag time. That's exactly what we're up against. So be thinking of what your max number is on all of this stuff once I hit that timer. So I'll count that down as we're going. Let me grab my phone and get this thing set up and get it ready to go. I've got Kenny in at 12. It might be a deal. So let's see. Stopwatch. That's what we want. And I've got Rusty Nails at 15. And we're going to start this thing off on the 1 minute timer. Going now. 1 minute. Get your bids in. Rusty Nails is in at 15. It might be a deal tonight. I'm watching Facebook too. I've got it up here. I don't have anybody on Facebook at this point, but we've had lag time on Facebook as well. So we are at 15 seconds has passed. If anybody else wants to get in, I've got Rusty Nails at 15 on this. Kenny's in at 16. 16's our high bidder right now. So anybody wants to jump in, be thinking about where you want to be, because we are right now at the 30-second point. Kenny's in at 16 is our high bidder. Might be a deal tonight on this one. This is an original metal can, late 40s, early 50s metal can. So, and we are now at 45 seconds. So if anybody wants to bid, you better get in. Kenny's in at 16. And 10 seconds left. Looks like Kenny may get it at 16. And we're just about done. And that's it. We've got Kenny at 16 on the can. So let me jot those notes down on that can. Stop this. Let's see. Jason, I'm broke. I missed a day of work because of the snow. Number one, I've seen the postage on his trivia wins. Yeah, it would cost more to ship than what it's bid. That's true. It does sometimes. So Kenny's our winner on the GM polishing cloth can at 16. The other piece I had that I was going to auction off tonight, we've talked about these a little bit in the past, historical documents. They're not good for anything other than display, but it's super cool. So I got one out. I'm going to throw it up there, see what you guys think. If nobody wants to bid on it, we won't worry about it. If people like them, I've got a whole book full of them. And this is super old stuff and really cool stuff. This is one for a 1919 Studebaker touring car. Like I said, the back's all filled out. It's got names on it. This was done in the 8th day of July, 1927. So this is in no way a legal document anymore. It is strictly a conversation piece. These look great in a frame. This was from Missouri. I actually thought about just getting a frame for it and putting it in it, because you can get frames for, peanuts. But I figured I'd put it in a frame. They've got that thin glass in them. It ain't going to make it to wherever it needs to go without the glass getting busted. So that's right, number one, 95 years old. So it's kind of a neat piece. It really is. You guys said you wanted some of them. Jason's already in at 10. So I guess we're going to sell it because you guys are ready to go. Jason's in at 10. Like I said, 1919 Studebaker Touring. Super neat piece. But like I said, they're not good for anything. Everybody's names, unless, well, if you know this guy that signed this in 1927, if you can find him and he still got the car, maybe it would still work. But yeah, it was a title, Kenny. That's what it was. I think that, I think that's what it was. It says that kind of down in some of the other print. But obviously not good for much of anything anymore. I've got Sebastian at 15. Pete came in at 15, but I've got Sebastian first. Big John says, number 1, it's from the year you were born. So, anyway, we'll get ready to throw this on the timer. Sebastian is at 16. He bumped himself $1. So keep an eye on there. I've still got some guys on Facebook. If you guys want to get in on the auction, absolutely be sure to jump in. Maybe the specialist, maybe the car still exists. I doubt it because these came from, this entire book of these that I've got came from the place where the all my badges came from, which was a salvage yard in the 30s and 40s up into the 50s. So I'm sure that Rusty Nails is probably a river car now. Could be. But more than likely, it got crushed when it went into that salvage yard, probably in the 30s or 40s. Jason's got a 1919 Missouri plate. So, but anyway, we're getting ready to put this on the timer. I've got Sebastian at 16 on this as well. Like I said, super cool pieces. Just something to frame, hang on the wall. Good conversation piece for the 1919 Studebaker touring car. Get ready to put this on the timer. Once again, as always, keep an eye on that. And I've got Rusty Nails at 20. I will count down on the time so you guys know when we're getting close to that minute mark in case you want to get in. So Rusty Nails at 20. We're hitting the timer right now. Here we go. It's running. Rusty Nails at 20 is my high bid. Seeing where this thing goes. Kenny in at 22. Sebastian likes building an archive of paperwork. Roadkill was at 21. Sebastian at 22. But I've got Kenny first at 22. I don't know if that was a bid, Jason, or what. I've got Sebastian at 23. We're at 25 seconds. I missed the 15 mark because I had some bids coming in. 30 seconds left. I've got Sebastian at 23. Him and Bose both came in at the same time. Robert's in at 25. We're up 40 seconds. I've got 20 seconds left. So we're getting tight on time. All you guys are coming in at the same numbers. Robert's in at 25 is the first one. Sebastian at 26. 10 seconds left. So who else is in? We're down to 5. Just about wrapped up. I've got Sebastian first at 26 and Sebastian's 27, and that's it. So Sebastian is our winner tonight. Sebastian did bump himself one more just at the end in case somebody else tried to beat him. So I've got Sebastian on the Studebaker piece at 27. So that was a good auction. That's exactly right. Number 1. That was fun. So that's what we've got tonight. The can was a little rougher not having the logo on it. If you guys want to do another one, I've got a badge laying here. If not, we can do it later. That's up to you guys. You tell me what you want to do, if we want to do a badge or not. So, but that's what we've got. Kenny's getting the can. Sebastian's getting the Studebaker piece for his document collection. Jason says he found out why the polishing cloth went so cheap he didn't bid on it. So that's right. Roadkill got caught up in the lag on that as well on that one. So that's why I announced the time to you guys as we're going. So Jess says do a badge. So anybody else want to do a badge tonight as well? Do we want to do 3 tonight? Do we have enough people on to do 3 tonight? I've got 1 vote to do it. So that's up. Joe says do the Buick badge. Rusty Nails wants to do some Dodge stuff. Yeah, we've got that. We've got some Dodge stuff in there as well. So I've got a lot of people saying do the badge. So I'm going to expect to see all of you bidding on it. Here's what we got. I actually sat this out here a couple weeks ago and it kind of got buried in some junk over there. So here's what we've got for a badge tonight. Just got another bid in from Robert. So there again, that lag time's a bad deal. Maybe we need, Jason just says sell it all. I'll tell you what we're going to do, and we'll start with this one. because of this lag time issue, since I literally just got another bid in, obviously that was in a long time ago. When I set the timer, I don't know if we need to go to 90 seconds. We'll go to 90 seconds. 1 minute is a little tight. So we'll go to 90 seconds on this. Sebastian sent the money after his first paycheck. That's cool. That's fine, Sebastian. You've always paid for everything else you bought. So we'll do this badge, and we'll do this tonight as well. This is another Buick badge. It's got a lot of chips in it, but you can still read the Buick. Number one, you've got to auction trivia some surprise bags of trinkets under the seats and glove boxes of cars. Yeah, we can do that. Brian Dispatch, go for the real money. The Buick can. Buick can is not for sale, period. 6079 Smith just jumped on. I haven't seen you on here before. Glad you made it. What are we talking about right now? We're in the middle of some memorabilia, auctions. We just sold this GM polishing cloth can that's going to be on the way. We just sold this super cool old Studebaker document for 1919 Studebaker. And we're getting ready to do a badge, an old badge. I didn't remember what year this was. I don't know if I had it written down from before when I pulled it out. Let me look at something real quick. Sebastian wants to do a Packard badge. Let's see. Josh, any 30s Pontiac hood ornaments? Don't have anything there. I had this badge out a week or two ago. I don't remember if I looked up what it was or not, but I think I did. No, apparently I didn't. No, that was different. That was a different Buick badge. So maybe I didn't, or maybe I had it on last week's paperwork. Let's see. Yes, 1933 Buick badge. That's what it was. Big job. Best way to bid your highest bid first if you want it that bad. Remember, high rollers always win. That's true. Pete wants more Chevy badges. I do have some more of those Chevy badges. We sold one of those earlier a few months ago. I can definitely grab another one of those. Joe, Diamond T badges. Don't have any Diamond T badges. I don't think I'd sell. I don't know if I even got any Diamond T badges. Yeah, I do have some Diamond T badges. We're just about to auction off the turtle wax bottle. No, don't think about that. How about showing the Hudson? We haven't done that in a while, Kenny. Thanks for bringing that up. So, 1933 Buick badge. Lots of chips in it, but you can definitely still make out the Buick. This badge is just under 2 inches, about 1 7/8 inches in diameter. This was a press-on badge. We can see the little button on the back where it would have pressed on, like onto the grill shell. Oh, Joe wants that big Diamond T badge. Yeah, I've only got that one big one. I forgot about that one. But let's auction off this Buick badge. I had it set out the other day, and we didn't get to it. Obviously, a lot of you guys wanted to do another badge, so I expect to see some of you bidding. But anyway, who's up for the Buick badge? Somebody get us started on the Buick badge tonight and see what it does. Like I said, it isn't the best one, but you can still read the Buick. You can still see a lot of the blue, which is a great blue. This is such an amazing blue on these things. Still see the white frame. The chrome edge looks good. I've got Lee at 10. It's a 1933. Kenny, is what year this was. Yeah, 1933 Buick badge. I have Jason at 15 is our high bidder as of right now. So like I said, we're going to give this one 90 seconds to try to give a little more time for what we've been having on these issues on the feedback. Got a bunch of people in at 10 that all came in at 10, including on Facebook. Norma's in at 20. Norma is our high bidder right now. I'm going to get the phone ready here as we get ready to put it on a timer. And Kenny came in at 20 as well. So I've got, Jason says it's going to go nuts now. So we're going to give it 90 seconds. This 1 minute isn't enough. We'll try 90. I don't want to drag it out forever. That's why I was wondering if I should go to 2 minutes or 90 seconds. But we'll try 90 seconds and hope it works. As of right now, I've got Lee at 25. Lee's our high bidder at 25. Man, I got lots of 20s all came in together at the same time. I got Kenny at 26. All right, we're going to slap this on the timer. We're going to go 90 seconds this time. Please remember this lag time. Make sure you get your bids in early. Scott, I'd be interested in an Oldsmobile badge or an Entitled 40 Olds coupe. I don't have any 40 Olds coupes, but I've got some Oldsmobile badges we can definitely work in here. Kenny at 26 is our high bidder. Buchanan says the air ride badge. Yeah. And here we go. 90 seconds on the clock. It is running right now. We're counting down. This is how I do it. I set the timer on my phone. I got Lee at 27 right now. We're going to 90 seconds. We're at 15 right now. Lee at 27. Sebastian says none of these on eBay. So Kenny at 28. That's right. Sebastian says if you want it, bid now. Buzz with Roadkill's at 30. Joe is at 30. I got two of you at 30 right now. We just went past the 30-second mark. We are now at 40 seconds. Frank wants a Willie's hood ornament. I don't have any of those at all. So I've got somebody else is going to have to bid because I got Roadkill and Joe right at the same time. And they literally hit the screen, different screens at the same time. We're right down to the minute mark. Is anybody in at 30? Because Buchanan's in at 30. Everybody's in at 30. I got Buchanan at 31. 1 minute has passed. We're down to 30 seconds. I've got Buchanan at 31. So if anybody's going to hit it with a high max bid, now's the time to do it. Kenny and Joe both at 32 at the same time. 15 seconds left. And if anybody else wants to hit it, so I've got Joe and Kenny both at 32 at the same time. 10 seconds left. I don't know what we're going to do here because we're about out of time. And I've got two guys hung up at 32. So now we got to figure something else out. I've got Joe at Facebook and I've got Kenny on YouTube, both at 32, both at the same time. And, well, Joe just came in at 35 and Kenny just came in at 33. So I guess that's the best way to do it is Joe's at 35. That was probably his max bid. So we've got Joe at 35, and that's really about the only way I know to do it. When we get them hung up, just those two guys can bid, and that's what we'll do, and that's exactly what they did do. So I've got Joe at 35 on it. Kenny was in at 33. I appreciate both you guys playing. But we've got to fight that lag time. We've got to keep that in mind on all these stuff. So thanks for playing, Kenny. I'll get the can out to you for sure. But unfortunately, with that lag time and what we're fighting on some of that stuff, that's what happens. And that's what happens when we're dealing with two formats. And that's exactly what we'll do again next time is that's right. Sold. We will do a, the last two guys that are in that are tied up because they literally, I was sitting here like this and I've seen both comments pop up at the same time. It was literally right on the money. So that's what we can do. So Joe, we've got Joe at 35 on the Buick Badge. Thanks, Kenny. I appreciate you hanging out with us and playing along and being a good sport on that. So that's right. Number one, we got a super good group tonight. So anyway, that's all I got laying here that I'll sell. So plus we probably need to move on to something else. Anyway, what else is going on? Let's got to get regrouped here for a second. Kenny says, no problem. That's great. And that's what I super appreciate about you guys. We do have some system issues. The world ain't perfect, but all you guys are great sports about it. Everybody plays along and everybody has a good time. That's what's so great about this group. So, Sebastian, is there a raffle today? No, the raffle is not today. We're going to talk about the raffle here in just a second. After we talk about trivia. Trivia coming up next. Once again, like we touched on last week, the trivia situation I'm questioning. Yes, Joe, you won the badge because you guys actually did what we were going to do was have to have a bid off. You and Kenny both bid again. As soon as I announced you were tied up, you bid 35, he bid 33. So, and Kenny said that he was cool with it, not a problem. So that's what we did. You guys had your own bid off before I ever got to the bid off. So worked out perfect. Old school's no egos here except number one. So Mr. PFF Flyer, no winners here, no whiners here, only winners. And that's what's great about it. So, yep, Joe, you're our guy on the Buick Badge. Trivia, like I said, I've been questioning the trivia situation. What we're running into on trivia, like we talked about, and I absolutely want your guys' feedback on this, whether you call me about parts when we talk about it, whether you post it. Trivia has, either we sit here and wait for 2 or 3 minutes till somebody finds the answer by going through the videos, or I put it on a timer and sometimes we don't get winners. We can do, but what I did do is I did a study. I went back through the last 30 episodes. Out of 30 episodes, and we typically have 40 or 50 people, sometimes 50 or 60 people on when we do trivia. So here's the deal. Yeah, old school's out. Here's the deal that I'm not sure about, whether we keep doing this or, we keep doing it on a timer and you guys are just going to have to either get to it or not. And some weeks we may not have a winner. I don't like just sitting here waiting for 3-4 minutes while somebody's looking. And here's the reason why. Out of the last 30 weeks, we had 10 different winners. And this goes back to, early summer of last year. 10 different winners. But out of those 30, 3 people won over half of them. Now, and that's nothing against the guys that won at all. I'm just wondering if there are enough people that are interested in doing it to continue it. Because if we've got 50 or 60 people on and we've got 10 people that are really looking for it, everybody else is kind of sitting here doing this, waiting to get through it. So my question to you guys, do we keep doing trivia? If we do, what format? Just wait till somebody finds it? Do we put it on a timer and know if nobody gets it, we're not going to have a winner and the prize is going to go to next week? Or do we just kind of forget about trivia and focus on the auction and the raffle and things like that? So, Pete says just keep the current format. It's working. So, which is what we've been doing on the timer. So, old school, some people don't care to win the prize. Some care a lot. So if Pete says keep doing what we're doing, which is on the timer, and sometimes people win, sometimes people don't. So, that's a vote for that format. So we'll see. And like I said, I'm not going to make a decision right now. I'm definitely interested in everybody's opinion on that. So, Josh, if it isn't about F-bodies or GM, I'm pretty novice who just enjoys listening and learning from the trivia, which there could be something to that too as well. So there's also a Hudson badge. Nate, he quit playing so someone else could get in, and which is cool too, to give everybody else a chance. But there again, and that's what I don't know. I mean, that's Kenny says it's fine the way we've been doing it. And if that's the case and everybody's cool with it, we'll keep doing it. Just put it on a timer. Frank says keep it going. Scott says pick a trivia out of my head, car related, and put it on a timer. That's a possibility as well. Sebastian, I think it's best to figure out what knowledge that everyone is mostly familiar with and go from there. And that could be anything. Big Job just here for the camaraderie and the beer. It's not a bad plan either. And the trivia Facebook guys are a little bit at a disadvantage because the trivia is based off of the videos that are on YouTube that I've been posting on YouTube for that week. So if you're on Facebook and commenting with us, that's great. And watching the YouTube throughout the week, then, you're absolutely going to be up to speed with where we're at. So, and that's right, old school. Some people don't watch every video, and I understand that, but that's why I don't want for a lot of people to just be sitting and twiddling their thumbs while we're waiting for somebody to find the answer. So, Bill, that's the way auctions are done. No trivia tonight. So, yeah, we'll do trivia real quick. I've got one set out. No, number one, it's not the Notre Dame football coach. So, as of right now, a lot of votes for just keep doing it with a timer. And if somebody doesn't win, we'll move the prize to next week. So we'll kind of keep that in mind and keep thinking about that too. But obviously interested in everybody's opinion. Rusty Nails watches just can't remember. Buchanan, maybe some pinups walking around in the background. There you go. Put viewer's name in a hat and pick a name. Because to do that, I would have to be sitting here writing those down and doing that while we're on the live, as well as keeping up with all the comments and following the format of the chat as well. So that would be pretty tough. So, Jim, I'm 76. Don't need much more. Just keep doing it. So lots of votes, kind of keep doing it as we're doing it. So we'll kind of work towards that. But once again, always interested in everybody's feedback. So let's reset the timer. Getting ready. We're going to put this on 90 seconds. About a video from last week. I'm actually, let me see. I'm going to I'm trying to get my own notes figured out here. I made a bunch of other notes, and I can't figure out my notes that I've got on here. So honestly, we may not do it tonight because I got so many chicken scratches on here at this point that I'm not 100% sure what I've got going. Let me check something here right quick, and we'll see what happens. I looked at this last night, and I want to make sure that what I've got going is going to be right, because I don't want to do anything, screw you guys up on something on a video from last week that I was checking out, working on trivia. I did all this last night, but I did it at about 1 o'clock this morning. So that's what I need to make sure that I've got on here. And actually, what I did was not the correct question. So, oh yeah, okay. I do remember what I did. I had to go back and look, actually, because we went to the play last night. Number one says I stumped myself. No, Shayla and I went to a play last night here in town. And so I didn't get to the shop till almost 11. So it was after 11 before I started on any of this last night. And so that's what kind of threw me off. But I do know what I'm talking about now. But yeah, I did. Big job. We stop when you make $1 million. So we'll see what happens there. The rest of us, I can't remember either. Well, I do now. So I just had to refresh my brain. Because like I said, it was midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock. By the time I got through the magazine and got the badges, it was well after midnight before I got to this point. Do I get a limit on the time to ask the question? Roger's here from Australia. Yeah, it was well past my bedtime, but I didn't know the play was going to go till 10 o'clock last night. But it did. So started at 7:30 and 3 acts and an intermission. It was 10 before we got out of there. BW, my phone died, so I jumped on to Brian's to say goodnight. Okay, so that's Kim, not BW. But tonight's trivia question. Tonight, what we're going to give away, this is a cool piece. It's a small piece, but it's super cool. I bought a bunch of matchbooks from a friend of mine who's is an antique dealer. Scott says he's got a question. First year Corvette got AC. Let's see. Get Rusty Nails. Guess how many gray shirts you have. I don't know how many gray shirts I have. I got a closet full of them. Let's see. Big job. A little champagne the night. No, it was Crown last night. So, but they have real quick, completely off note. The Great Bend Community Theater is actually housed in the old Crest Theater, which is amazing. I've got to get a picture of it. They still have the original marquee, fully restored, all the rolling lights that you'd see on a marquee in the 50s. So it actually was the old movie theater that the Great Bend Community Theater is in. And they sell drinks, but you can't take them into the theater because this theater is so old, there's no cup holders, and everybody would sit them on their floor and kick them over. So you can buy a drink when you get there, but you got to finish it before you go in. You can buy a drink at intermission, but you got to finish it before you go back in. So it was a Crown Royal night, but unfortunately you had to get one before you went in, had one before you get in. You could have one at intermission, and then you had to just sit there the rest of the night and watch the play. But tonight's prize, like I said, I bought a bunch of cool matchbooks, and I forgot I've got a bunch more matchbooks. And I'm going to give some of these away because they're so great. Auction off one of your shirts with a drinking cup. Well, anybody can buy the shirts, so that wouldn't be very much fun. Because I'll send you all the shirts you want, Scott. All the information to order the shirts is in the text part of these videos, both on Facebook and YouTube. But tonight's matchbook is for City Service Cool Motor, a better start for any trip. Late 30s based on the car, Cool Motor gasoline from Bears Service Station, Galion, Ohio. So here it is. Big job. Bring a flask next time. Jason, who lets go of their drink? They won't let you in with it. Kenny's getting dry. Kevin says, love old theaters. A picture would be great. I'll try to get some pictures of the Crest for you guys because it's amazing. It really is. But they don't have cup holders. They need cup holders. I know that. Josh says he knows where that's actually at. So, Scott says my sweatshirt. Auction off my sweatshirt. I don't know who'd want my old nasty sweatshirt. But this Cool Motors matchbook is what we're going to give away. We'll look at this side of it. Like I said, I'm saying it's late 30s based on the car. And here's the city service sign with the Bears service station on the back. Number 1, put whiskey and Coke in a Camelback backpack. There you go. No matches in it, but these are still great advertising pieces. Jason's a fan of matchbooks. Me too. And I forgot about a whole bunch more that I had bought from this guy a while back. So we're going to do a few more of these too. Plus, they're cool. They're easy to ship. They're great pieces. And being simple to ship and being this cool is really great for trivia. So, but Norma likes it too. But anyway, on to the trivia. We posted a video the other night of the loader running. It was running. When we did the video, we did some clips of it running. Then we went outside, did a full walk around on the loader. We took a look at the crankshaft. While we were looking at the crankshaft, we looked at a couple of other pieces that we replaced while the engine was out. What were those pieces? So get the timer turned on here and ready to go. Here we go, 90 seconds on the clock. What were the other pieces that were replaced that we looked at when we were looking at the damage to the crankshaft? Jason didn't see that one, so keeping an eye on it. Pete's our winner. Pete's right on top of it. He was paying attention. Hydraulic hoses. Pete was on that one, so, oh, wow, there's a cool timer. I didn't even see that timer. And Lee was in with it right out of the gate. Rusty Nails had it. So some of you guys were paying attention. Let me get Pete wrote down here. I don't think I've got your shipping information, Pete. So I will need to get that from you. And Kenny says the front ram seals. We did do that as well. No, there was a lot of guys that paid attention to that video, more so than I thought, because it didn't have a ton of views. But Norma got the hoses. Yep, they were laying there with the crank when we did it. But anyway, I bumped my phone. I don't know how I did this, but I'm going to have to figure it out because I don't really know what I did here, actually. I got a different timer here, and it's really cool. I like it. The timer we just looked at is a lot different. When I tried to stop this, I ended up hitting the button that gave me this timer. That's a pretty cool timer, so we have to check that out. Brian, dispatch, try our Canadian beer, more bang for the bucks. Sebastian was there too, so a lot more of you guys paid attention to that than I thought. Pete was right on top of that. Pete's going to get the Cool Motors matchbook tonight. So, and like I said, I've got more of these. We're going to check out a bunch more on Toy Tuesday. Kevin's also going to think about was the damage to the crank where the keyway was gone. Yeah, that's why I didn't use the crank. I thought about that. But what the damage to the crank was, but that was what anybody would have been paying attention to because that was the entire reason why we had to pull the engine out of it. So, anyway, Pete was on that one. Like I said, get with me, Pete, because I don't think I've got your shipping information on that as well. That's right, Josh. If Pete was on, he answered immediately. So, let's see. Number 1, the exchange rate and the import is more buck for the bang. So anyway, a lot of people on trivia night tonight. That's great. And I'm glad that, you guys are all on top of that and paying attention. That's big job beating by milliseconds. Yep. And there again, I know we deal with system issues on that, but that's why I'm so thankful that all you guys are cool about it. Bill says, turn the crank into a mailbox support. Yeah, you can do that. It's kind of a beast of a crank. But thanks for playing, everybody. Number 1, can we paint a dragon on that exhaust pipe on the loader? I don't think I need to paint a dragon on it, but I did work on it quite a bit again today. Getting closer to getting it ready get it out to the yard. Still getting a few things finished up that I want to get done to it before it goes out, but we're making some progress at least, so that's important as well. But thanks for playing, everybody. Great participation tonight. That's what I feel a little better just seeing that much participation. That you guys paid attention and we were all on it and it worked and we got a lot of enjoyment out of it and a lot of fun tonight. Now on to the raffle. Now I got to get up to show you this thing again. Jim was trying to find the H on his keyboard, so this month's raffle for the pedal car. There she is, 60s era pedal car. Turn it around here. You can see the bottom of it. The gear is all in it. Does have the wrong tires and wheels. Has had an amateur restoration. It has been painted with, like I said, these different wheels and tires on it. There's the front end of this beast. It is pretty straight. Not a lot of damage. We've got one rust spot in the back of it. We've got taillights. We've got this big cool V in it. This piece is a rust hole. Here's the inside of it. Seat has been reinforced. And to make this fair, there is going to be $45 shipping on it. I can remove the steering wheel and make the box a little bit smaller. But to be fair with everybody, the winner is going to have $45, have to pay $45 shipping on it. And it's probably going to be a little more than that, but the raffle should cover it. Or they have the option to take second prize. When we pull the winner out and they don't want to mess with shipping, they have the option to take second place. Bill says, see you Tuesday. Drag racing's on. That's cool. Glad you were here. Number one, we got the hoses, but haven't been able to answer the decal on the van bumper or the van build date. Yeah, and all that stuff's good. It's good stuff, number one. Jason says, looks like a future custom to me. And that's exactly right, Jason. That would make a perfect pedal car to make a custom out of, because it has been amateurly restored, but it is still a good body. So it's a perfect one to build a hot rod or a custom out of, because you're not messing up the originality, but it's still a good base to build from. So big job. Loaded right up my alley. Drove loader in my dad's quarry when he's 8 years old loading trucks. Kevin's got to run. Enjoy tonight. Be safe. Troy says, good evening, everybody. Who's in as of right now on the trivia? Sebastian is in. My dad is in. William Chiranza is in. Ron Walensky, big job, is in. And Mary Guthrie are all in. So, and like I said, since I'm not going to be in town next week, we're going to back this up 1 week and give it away on the 6th of March, since I won't be here. So you've still got plenty of time to get in now, even if you want to throw it in the mail. Initially, we were going to do it next weekend. My plans changed a little bit. So we're going to back this up to March the 6th for the pedal car raffle drawing. We've got 5 in right now. If we get to 10, we'll draw a third name out of the big Buick oil can. So everybody that I just read off is in there as of right now. All those little slips have everybody's names that I just read off of the packet of entrants. Second prize will be the new old stock 2.5 ton weight rating tag, never been on a truck, as well as the 1 pound Wanda grease can. Some scratches and chips, but still has good color. Original steel can, has the old steel crimp seam on the side of it. So that's second prize. Pedal car will be first prize. First name out of the hat has the option to take the pedal car with shipping or take the Wanda grease can and plate. That's right, big job. February went quick. If we get 5 more names in, we will pull a third name. If we pull 3 names, once again, the next second name we'll pull will have the option on the pedal car. Surely we'll find one of you guys that wants the pedal car. Like I said, I've got to at least get something on shipping to keep it even across the board for everybody. So if you haven't gotten in, be sure to do that. The PayPal information as well as the mailing information are in the text part of this video. After we get done, you can click on the video. The mailing info is there. The PayPal info is there. PayPal friends and family only on anything, auction items, entries, t-shirts. I will only do PayPal on friends and family due to some rule changes within PayPal. So, but like I said, all that information is there. If you want t-shirts, you want to get into the raffle, any of that stuff, you can do it through PayPal or just mail me a check, money order. Some of you guys just throw cash in the mail. So, number one, is that special Buick oil can for Buick Specials, or was that the Roadmaster Buick oil? Nope, I think it was for any of them. I think this was transmission fluid. Yeah, automatic transmission. So the only year this would have been Roadmaster only would have been 48. I think by 49, I know the Dynaflow was in the Super by 49, and I think you could get into Special in 49. So the only one the only time it would have been specifically Roadmaster would have been 48. Sebastian, good night. Got to pack for lunch. Got to go pack his lunch for work tomorrow, just like everybody reminded him. Good luck tomorrow, Sebastian. Hope everything works out great, and hope you have a long career as a diesel tech because it's a great field and it's a great way to make a good living. So Kenny's going to be sending the money for the GM polishing can this week. So thanks. Appreciate that. So get in. That's who's in. We need 5 more to get to our 10 to pull 3 names. So check that info out. Get in. Pete says sent address to the Cox email. Okay. I'll go check that because I don't check that. I only check that once every few days. So I will make that note here as well. Thanks for that. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Old School still wants the turtle wax bottle. Yeah, but that's actually my daughter's. So, yeah, don't think that turtle wax bottle's going anywhere. That was something she found at an auction. That's why it's actually in here in the glass case. So that's why that was such a cool piece, and that's why it's in here. So. That's right. Sebastian says, good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. So, or the VW bugs. Sebastian says, good night. Don't let the VW bugs bite. So, Big Job says, better take some electrical courses too, Sebastian. Yeah, that's true too. Anyway, what else is happening? New inventory this week. I got only thing I picked up a 53 Bel Air, complete 53 Bel Air 4-door, fresh off of Farmstead. It was Grandma and Grandpa's car. They parked it out in the corner of the field years ago, and that's where it sat till I picked it up the other day. So we'll have a video coming up on that soon too. Baby blue and white 53 Bel Air 6-cylinder with a power glide in it. So kind of a neat old car, just an untouched, intact, original piece. So. Stay tuned for a video on that. What's coming up this week on videos? Jason says we're on a mission from God. Got some stuff, more stuff from the new yard. May get the 53 Chevy done. Not sure on that. River cars. We had some questions about the river cars. How do we get down there? Well, actually, I've got that video. May try to throw that up this week since you guys were asking about it. Can we guess on the engine in the Dodge 200 van? I'd have to go look and see what it is because I don't know. I never looked. So if you guys want to see that video on how we got to the river down into those cars, I'll throw that video up this week as well. So new yard, maybe the 53 Chevy, river cars, the river car limo. We'll get. Jason just says yes, so it's pretty cool. Number 1 says it's a 360, so maybe you could tell that from the VIN or the tag that we showed, but I never even looked, so I honestly don't know. Kevin, that will be part 4 of the river cars. Yep, it could be. And my buddy gave us a good walk around on it. Explained it all, how it's set up. It's a pretty cool deal. It's a pretty neat thing. So we'll get that one up this week, especially since you guys were asking about it. So stay tuned for that. Rusty Nell says 360 was his guess on the van engine as well. Toy Tuesday, we'll get that done live like usual. We'll do some more of these matchbooks that I just got the other day. I got lots of cool ones of those to check out. Got a viewer package for Toy Tuesday. Excited about that one, so stay tuned for that. Did you take plenty of bandages with you to the river? No, I was fine, and I stayed dry, and I never fell into the water, so that was good. Get a trinket from the river cars for a trivia prize. I did pick one thing up that we haven't seen in a video yet that I do have that we'll do something with. I don't know what yet, but one of you guys will end up. It's kind of rough, but there again, it's in one of the videos. It was a kind of cool piece. Even though it's rough, it was a shame to leave it laying there. So that's coming up, but we won't have that. It was one of the, I think about 2 more car videos or remains of car videos, plus the river limo video. So after we get through those last couple car videos, because it's in one of those last 2 videos, may even be the last video, the piece I brought back. So we'll get to that, and somebody will end up with that one way or the other, whether we auction it, raffle it, throw it up in the air. Who knows? We'll figure something out with it. So that is all going to be coming up next week. So Toy Tuesday will be live, and we'll get some of those videos ready and popped out. So Cement Surfer Guy is here, but missed most of the show. That's all right. At least you made it for part of it. Rusty Nelson wants a wing vent knob. So Kenny says maybe a tetanus shot. Falling could be bad in the wrong place. Yeah, because a lot of those places where I was trying to get down to, if I slipped, it was 3 or 4 feet straight into the water. The water wasn't deep, mind you. I mean, none of it was real deep. But since there was still snow and ice on the ground, I don't think I want to be hanging out in it. So far, what we've looked at is pretty close. Everything is on the Arkansas so far, which is the Arkansas is the one that runs right by Great Bend. I know some other locations of stuff on the Arkansas. I know there's some stuff out of the Smoky. There's a lot of that stuff out there, but some of that stuff you got to get permission to get into and things like that. So that's I would like to do more of it. Big Job says better late than never to hit the like button. Thanks for that, Big Job. Joe, the B-29, I see no nose art and civilian clothes, so it must be a plant built. That could be true, and no bureau number on it. None of these prints had any information, no bureau numbers, no nothing on any of these prints. So, but that is a good point. It could be a plant picture based on the way it looks with nothing on it and no markings or anything. So, Rusty Nail says you picked up a wing vent knob. I don't think I kept it if I did. So, I'll have to look into that and double check. But so far, this stuff we've looked at has been in this vicinity. But like I said, hopefully we're going to get out and get you some more stuff that I know of and get some other stuff. Number one, that water is pretty clean for like 50 cars littering its banks. Yeah. But like I said, that stuff's been there for 50 years. So, anything that was going to contaminate it other than the metal is pretty much gone at this point. So anyway, that's what we've got for this week. We'll get it. Yeah, we've got it. Cement Surfer. We've got them. I just haven't shown it a little bit. Next week, like I said, if things go haywire, I'll just make a post that I won't be able to get on, or if something changed time-wise or something, I'll make a post on it. But next week will be YouTube only because that's because I'm going to have to do it wherever I end up at. So I will be YouTube only next Sunday night. And we'll try to put something together while I'm on the road, though. I'm going to try to find the auction items while we're on the road. And we'll see if I find something little for trivia, we may do trivia, but not going to guarantee that, because if I don't find anything for it, I don't want to guarantee you we'll have trivia next week. Roger liked the River Walks. We're glad. Appreciate that. Joe, Toy Tuesday, World War II stuff. Probably not. By the time we get, because we got to open the viewer package. And it's not huge, but there's definitely some stuff in it. So I don't know all what that's going to consist of. So probably not. We'll get through these matchbooks because these matchbooks got some great graphics on them. So we're going to talk about those a little bit more. And then so we'll spend a little time with those and the viewer package. If there's not much in the viewer package, then we may grab a couple of extra things. But I've got a feeling we'll be 10, 15 minutes easily by the time we do matchbooks and the viewer package. So we'll probably try to shoot for World War II stuff again the next week, Joe. So, but anyway, so stay tuned for next Sunday night. We will try to do some sort of an abbreviated version and see what I find on the road to auction off. Jason's back from his fridge run. We just showed that, so we'll show it again just for you. So, Kevin, Sunday night wouldn't be the same without these chats. So, like I said, we'll see what happens. I don't know for sure. Exactly. Rusty Nelson's a new spot to go hand fishing. Number one, viewer packages and cat packages. If the gray cat feels rude. Yeah, you're being rude, actually. That's a good way to put it. I think she turned. She's still up on the fridge, but I think she turned the other way. So, anyway, we'll see. We'll try to slap something together next week. I'm not going to guarantee you it's going to be the exact same format or with all the same stuff. And probably will be an abbreviated version, but we'll get on. But you never know. I may stop at an antique store and find some cool stuff. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But whatever I find, I'm going to try to find something, and it may not be anything good. If I don't find anything good, I may just end up with an emblem or something. Who knows? But while I'm on the road, I'm going to make a conscious effort to try to find something cool to auction off while we're on. And it's going to be a complete surprise because I don't know what it is yet. We'll see what I can come up with and what I can find. with that being said, I'm about done. That pretty much burns through my page for episode number 101 of Sunday Night Live Chat. Big job. Yep. Good night to all you church members and your donations. And that's awesome. And that's something else too that, you guys do hit me with some super chats sometimes. And that's awesome too. The fact that you guys do financially try to help support what I do. I put a lot of time and effort into this thing. Like I said, 10 o'clock last night, after we finally got out of the play, cutting down here at 10:30 and tearing into this project wasn't exactly top of my priority list. But it needed to get done. I was working on the loader till about 10:30 Friday night, so I didn't get it done Friday night. So I had to get back down here last night, even after the play, and get on it and get it built for tonight. So Kenny, glad he was part of number 101. Buzz Roadkill Custom says, good night all. Same with Big Job. Norma, thanks for spending Sunday evenings with us. So we'll slap something together. Rusty says, we'll do 102 without you. So we'll see what happens. It may be short. I may find a bunch of cool stuff. I don't know. But we'll patch something together. I may try to pick up a car or two before I leave this week, because I'm not leaving till later in the week. So it's just going to be a short day or two trip, but I know there's some stuff going on Sunday that I won't be back for. So as always, appreciate you guys being here. I'll keep an eye on comments for the next few minutes. Inevitably, as soon as I hit end stream, there's half dozen more that pop up. So Big Job. What did you go see? Cat on a roof? A cat on a hot tin roof? No, we went and saw All My Sons. It's an Arthur Miller play that was written in 1946 or 1947. It was a fairly heavy drama, which I'm not big on. But they did a good job. It's just it was so dramatic. For me to go to a play, I want to sit there and basically I want to sit there and laugh and have a good time. If I'm sitting there at the play, and it was good. They did a very good job. But for me to sit at the play and have to work to follow it because it is so dramatic and there is a lot of facts and there was a lot of World War II references in it, aircraft even. So I did like that. However, it didn't dive into anything deep, but my brain is all running through the technical stuff of everything they're talking about. So that, it was a great play, but that's what it was. All My Sons, written by Arthur Miller, 1946, 1947. And if you did not understand the history behind it and what happened in World War II, which is what the play was based on, it would have been a very difficult follow. Fortunately, I've got, a fairly decent amount of knowledge of that era. I've read a lot of books on it. So I did follow what they were talking about. But in today's era, if you didn't understand that point in time, the play wouldn't have made as much sense. So that's what we saw. All My Sons, written by Arthur Miller, and the Great Bend Community Theater did a great job on it. I've got to get you guys some pictures of the Crest Theater because it's absolutely amazing. So didn't think about that last night, but I should have gotten them. Joe, cool show tonight. Looking forward to getting the Buick Badge. Kenny, thanks for another great show. Number one still wants to figure out what engine attached to a car giveaway. Cement Surfer, Decatur, Texas swap meet. Don't know anything about that one at all. Brian Dispatch, lots of brownie points. Number one, we had to read that play in high school. It's deep in World War II. Yep, that's exactly right. And if you didn't understand a lot of that stuff, it would have been tough to follow. So, Roger said, watch the start of the show later. Number one, they had brownies at the play. Did you see? No, they didn't have brownies at the play. Jason saw the Phantom of the Opera once because he liked the cleavage. So, anyway, Pete says goodnight. Thanks for the matchbook. Glad you won it. All right, I'm going to keep an eye on things here for just a minute. Big Job's losing his mind, I think. That's a whole lot of emojis with a whole lot of different expressions. So Big Job might be losing his mind, but that's okay because he's hanging out here with us. Actually, that might have had something to do with it. So, Frank, how about a mail segment? Not sure where you're going with what you want on that, Frank. Something got butchered up in that. I'll keep an eye on that for a few more seconds if you want to clarify that before we completely sign off here. Anyway, stay tuned for a post next week in case something changes. But I will try to find something on the road that's cool. for next week. And we'll get together and we'll hang out for a little bit, even if it's an abbreviated version. Number one, they synced up the English class and social studies class for the Arthur Miller semester. Okay, I guess that makes sense. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned for a post. Stay tuned for New Yard, River Cars, the River Limo, possibly the 53 Chevy. We'll see how things kind of get patched together. Keep an eye on my videos on YouTube. I'm going to be very curious as to your guys' feedback on the tweaks and changes that we're making to some of the videos. Because like I said, we're testing it. Mike Gowns and myself, we're working on some of this stuff. Mike's a genius at this stuff. And we're just trying different things and see what ticks. If you see something you like, let me know. If you see something you don't like, let me know. Because that's what we need to know. Be sure to get in on the raffle. We need 10 people to get a third name coming out of the big Buick oil can in 2 weeks. Hope to see some more entries in that. If you want t-shirts, that information's on there as well. I'll get these prizes ready to go out to the winners. And we will have some fun this week and hopefully next weekend. We'll patch something together for next Sunday night at some point and be on with you guys and hang out and see how things are going. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to get ready to sign off as I keep an eye right now on comments. Rusty Nelson says, stop sending him the snow. You can have it all because I don't want any of it. It's because we're supposed to get some cold weather this week, and I don't want that either. Jason's still here. I think this is where he's going with that. I'm still here. So let's see. Frank never had responded or replied back on that because I was lost on that comment. Anyway, looks like we're caught up on Facebook. As always, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you spending what's turning into pretty much your whole Sunday night with me. And we're having a great time. We're having a lot of fun. There's some cool stuff going out to our winners this week, and we'll see what happens next week. One more time with the Hudson badge before we get ready to go. Keep an eye on comments as we sign off. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you this week on some of the other videos, as well as hope to see you back here next Sunday night at some point, depending on how things work. Hopefully, we'll be at 7 o'clock for an abbreviated version of Sunday Night Live Chat. Get your chances in for the raffle. We're going to be giving that pedal car away in 2 weeks. And we are getting ready. We're going to wrap this thing up one more time because Big Job just threw up a whole bunch more beer mugs. And we will see you all soon on the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with me and all of us. We will see you soon on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody.